At police station.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised. Saqib Ali's appointment is expected to be confirmed at the Police and Crime panel this evening. But Commissioner Ollie Martin's Conservative opponent, Catherine Holloway, says it shouldn't be happening as the force battles funding cuts. More from Ben Nye.
The Conservative candidate for the upcoming Police and Crime Commissioner elections has described the appointment as insensitive and inappropriate. At a time when the Commissioner is asking for more money for Bedfordshire's police, she says the timing of this appointment sends the wrong message. However, the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners says 3/4 of PCCs have deputies.
Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security that include EasyJet flights to and from London Luton Airport. The government say a bomb may have caused a Russian plane to crash shortly after taking off from Sharm at the weekend. The Egyptian president is in the UK and will hold talks with David Cameron today. Around 20,000 British tourists are believed to be in Sharm el-Sheikh, but the government says the resort itself is considered to be safe. A memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death against police advice. Mr Briggs died in police custody in November 2013. Bedfordshire Police had told the family to postpone the plaque going up and say no decision has yet been made about taking it down. Leon's mum, Margaret, was at the plaque's unveiling.
Well, we think it's great that we had so much support tonight. They can't get back my trust because they told me the other night they were going to let us put the plaque up. We just will not speak to them again.
Train services on the Great Northern Route between Hitchin and Royston are expected to return to normal this morning after yesterday's disruption. A woman was hit by a train at Letchworth Garden City yesterday morning and was airlifted to hospital with serious leg injuries. Residents living in Wixham's off the A6 between Luton and Bedford say they're disappointed that a planned train station is still no closer to being built. Work started on the development in 2007. The train station was due to be completed this year. More from Jessica Cooper.
In total, 4,500 homes are to be built at Wixham's across 4 villages. The first is almost complete. The planned train station was due to be finished in spring this year, but was delayed until December. Now, residents who moved to the area for the train station say they're disappointed at how this has been handled, and some are considering moving away. The developers Gallagher Estate say the delivery of the station is not in their control, and they're working with Network Rail to secure the necessary arrangements to bring the station forward.
In sport, England need 284 to win the third and final test against Pakistan in Sharjah and square the series. England start the final day on 46 for 2. The weather, cloudy with some light rain this morning, heavier rain later this afternoon, a maximum temperature 15 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Hang on, don't worry. Now listen, yes, the computer might be broken. That's absolutely fine. Hang on. Oh, blimey. Who's this on? Who's just called in?
It's me, Barry.
Barry?
Barry.
Barry?
Yes.
You don't know how to fix the computer in the studio, do you?
Yes.
Do you?
But I'm not really worried about the computer. I'm more worried about the people that are walking down the M1.
Who? Hang on a minute. Who's walking down the M1?
There's people walking down the M1 again.
Oh, we've spoken before. We've spoken before, haven't we? Are you a trucker?
Yes.
All right. Where you say walking down the M1, the hard shoulder?
They're walking on the hard shoulder between Luton Airport and Junction 9.
Oh, blimey. How many people are there, do you reckon?
Well, there's 2, but they're completely in black, so you can't see them until you meet in the last minute.
Let's cut to the chase.
I just thought I'd let everybody know that's listening. Because,
keep an eye out. Let's cut to the chase, Barry. The last time we spoke about this, they were we suspected that they were refugees or migrants of some sort.
It could be. He's got a backpack on.
Right.
He's got a backpack on. But I don't really know. But I thought I'd just let you know, Ian. I've called the highway anyway.
Barry, you sound like a very responsible, upstanding citizen. I appreciate that call.
Well,
I'm sure.
I nearly missed them anyway.
Oh, flipping heck.
I didn't want to be responsible.
Are you all right? Because that's quite a shock in itself.
Well, it wasn't a shock when I was going at 60 miles an hour, and then I saw him walking down the hard shoulder.
Mate. All right, Barry.
It shocked more the guy that was coming alongside.
Yeah, I bet. More. Barry, listen. Thanks for that. Are you sure you don't know how to log out of this computer so we can log in again?
Have you tried a hammer?
But I think we've tried it. We've actually tried turning it off and turning it on again with very little joy.
More than us, and we are there, but they don't know what's in their hands. It's more than you, and it's more than I, but it's more. And everybody calls it love, but I'm not really sure if it's love at all. No, not anymore. More than he, more than she, they are asleep, but we just dream. It's more or less, means more for us, but it's more. Everybody wants a hand, but I'm too busy holding up the world to carry on. Oh, not anymore. I wish that I could fly, fly, fly away. And if I should fall and you hear me call, would you stay? Now more than us, we are there. They don't know what's in their hands. It's more than you, it's more than I, but it's more. And everybody calls it love, but I'm not really sure this is love at all. No, not anymore.
The only place that goes from that to this.
Kick out the jams, mums!
Well, I feel pretty good, and I guess that I could get crazy now, baby. 'Cause we all got it doing, and when the dressing room got hazy now, baby. I know how you want it, darling, with that tight. The girls can't stand it when you're doing it right. Let me up on the stand, and let me kick out the jam. Yes, kick out the jam. I have to kick them out. Yes, I'm starting to sweat, you know my shirt's all wet. What I'm feeling in the sound that I bounce and resounds and rebounds off the ceiling. You gotta have it, baby, you can't do it without it. When you get the feeling, you gotta sock 'em out with that mic in my hand. And let me kick out the jam. Yes, kick out the jam. God for giving up, you know you can't get enough this Mackenzie. Cause it gets in your brain, drives you insane, leaves the frenzy. The wiggly guitars go, the crash of the drum, make me wanna keep a rockin' till morning comes. Let me be who I am, and let me kick out the chair. Yeah, kick out the chair. I done kicked them out.
Well done, guys. Great song, guys. Yep. There we go.
Oh.
And it ends there. And do you know what? It's probably best it ends there because those guys, the MC5, really were very, very potty-mouthed. Late 60s rockers. Kick out the jams. That's one for the mums.
You know how my mum would describe those guys?
Yep.
Lads in a garage.
Speaking of lads in garages, Ollie Martins will officially announce. I don't even know,
I don't know what
that
I
means.
mean.
No, but it's made me laugh. Ollie, it doesn't mean anything, but you know, it's the juxtaposition. Ollie Martins will officially announce the appointment of a new Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire today. Ollie Martins going national. He was mentioned on LBC yesterday.
I heard.
Unbelievable. The last deputy resigned over a year ago amid allegations she tried to influence a trial. She's since been cleared of any wrongdoing. The decision to hire Saqib Ali is being criticised by the Conservative candidate for Ollie's job. Boyle, tell me more about Catherine Holloway and what has she been saying?
OK, well, she's very critical of this decision by Ollie Martins to appoint a deputy at a time when he's asking for more money for Bedfordshire Police. Famously, he's been all over the newspapers and, as you say, the national radio this week.
Yep.
She's calling it insensitive and inappropriate and has said that she is incredulous that he'll be paid a salary of more than £30,000 a year for a 3-day-a-week role. She's already told us that she wouldn't have a deputy if she's elected in the forthcoming election, saying, "There's no way I'd behave similarly. I couldn't ask for more and more from my officers, many of whom are putting in 12-hour shifts, if I was seeking extra help like this with the workload in my own office." However, Ollie Martins has defended his decision. He says he's one of the cheapest PCCs in the country, and it's not just him saying that. The Taxpayers Alliance recognise that too. He also says the panel have always recommended a deputy position to increase the resilience of his office.
I don't know what that means.
Well, in the past, if you, if for any reason that the PCC can't operate in his job, he has to have a replacement. And there was, we were talking in the meeting yesterday, apparently one didn't have a deputy, and they had a pretty junior person in the office having to take over his responsibilities because he couldn't function. So you have to have someone who can step in.
So it's not that unusual then to have
No,
one?
not at all. The Association of Police and Crime Commissioners told us that over 3/4 of PCCs have a deputy. That's on top of a chief of staff or a chief executive, which is required by law. It's also worth noticing that locally, both David Lloyd and Anthony Stansfeld, the PCCs for Hertfordshire and Thames Valley, have deputies, and Ollie Martins previously had a deputy as well until, as we said earlier on, last August when Tafeen Sharif resigned from her role.
So who is this Catherine Holloway? We're talking to her later on. Who is she? Sounds like she's stirring it a bit.
Well, she's his opponent, so it's, arguably it's her job to stir it a bit.
Okay. And this is all part, back to the script, of the ongoing discussions about how Bedfordshire Police is funded, isn't it?
That's right. The petition started by Ollie Martins to get the government to change the funding formula has just passed the 10,000 signature mark, which means a minister has to respond. The next milestone is 100,000, which would prompt a parliamentary debate. Now, Ollie has also been talking to a parliamentary select committee
Mr. Martins, to you.
About the problems Bedfordshire Police will face if the current funding formula stays as it is. He's warned he may be forced to permanently switch on the M1 speed cameras and even look at companies sponsoring police uniforms.
Oh, that's in one of the papers today. Is that him?
Yeah, to make the shortfall in money.
Blimey.
And that's why his opponent, Catherine Holloway, is stepping in with this one. Now,
Go on.
I've also been having to think about this.
Have you?
Could be.
don't thunk too hard, will you?
No, but it could be that we've heard about sponsorship before. It could be that this is a little bit of tub thumping, and actually they want the government to understand, just how bad it is, and they want the public to understand just how bad it is.
Here's the thing, right? Why would sponsorship of coppers be a bad thing?
Well, because they're supposed to be independent.
Right, OK. So how would...
Also, if you're a copper, do you want McDonald's on your back?
Yeah, well, I don't think you'd want McDonald's. I think they'd probably take something away that...
Who would you have?
Oh, I'd have something that wasn't connected with pig meat.
Well, you want something that's
not being completely honest.
Oh, yeah. So Greggs is out.
Well, like what, Lidl's or something? I would.
You're asking for. Oh no, you're asking.
Would you
for,
be offended? Seriously, serious question. If the police car went past and it had Lidl's on it, or if you got done with a speeding ticket, they did like they do in WH Smith's. Would you like to buy some chocolate with this? No, but then they give you a load of vouchers and one of them's for Primark. Well, I don't see what the problem
no,
would be.
but that's the whole. That you're expressing the problem there. It's
But
reducing
what is
it
the problem?
Oh, they shouldn't. They should be completely out of that. They shouldn't
Why?
be. They shouldn't have any allegiance to anyone other than the crown.
Here we go. The police. Here we go. This is it. Hey, flipping it. Ollie Martins. I used to know that guy.
Yeah.
Well, he's in the Sun today. We'll have a little look at that in a second. Let's get some business done.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1, it's slow southbound past junction 13 for Bedford because of an accident, but it's on the hard shoulder now. On the M25, it's building up anti-clockwise from junction 21 for the M1 to 19 for Watford, and a bit further afield on the M25, a lane's been blocked anti-clockwise at junction 12 for the M3 because the lorry's broken down. In Neasden on the North Secular Road, it's slow towards the Neasden interchange through the roadworks from the M1 at Staples Corner, and in Waddesdon, there's roadworks on the A41. There's temporary traffic lights on the High Street at the junction for Baker Street, so expect delays there later on. There's no reported problems on the trains though so far this morning. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. I didn't hear a word of that because Catherine was bigging herself up. Oh, nice to have around, I am. Where are we now, guys? It's 6:16. The most shambolic start to the show, and the recent listener figures show that people are actually listening to this part of the show now. So that a year ago, no one was listening. We could do what we wanted. Now there's about 27 people listening. We've got to give them these headlines. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death against police advice.
Every weekday morning.
Isn't it nice to have a good discussion about things in a polite way?
My opinion is... You make a very valid point. As long as the person can do the job, I don't care. Hence, I'm saying she's completely out of touch.
It doesn't always happen like that, though, does it?
Well, if you let me speak, I'll let you know what they are then.
Well, that don't prove that an accident's been caused, does it?
The JVS Show.
My big phone in every morning from 9 gets everybody talking.
First of all, I congratulate you. Got a very good topic on this morning. I'd like to share some experiences.
I'm not going to respond to that statement because I find that quite inflammatory.
The JVS Show. Weekdays from 9 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Got a local superstar in our midst, Justin.
Oh, really?
Ollie Martins.
Ollie Martins,
mentioned
legend.
on LBC yesterday. Wasn't listening.
I was. No, I wasn't.
And he was talking about the spot. Ollie Martins is Stratford. He will turn tricks for cash. Basically,
Yes.
he will do anything.
He's coming in about an hour. You can put that to him.
No, he'll do anything for money, basically.
Right, okay.
Beds police are screwed, and he's and. I like the fact that he's putting every idea that most normal people would go, it's rubbish. He's putting it out there and seeing what's going on. So, the sponsorship of the police.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with it. Supposing the police got sponsored by Primark. They look very smart. They look very smart.
Yeah, then Primark gets, held up for having sweatshops and stuff, and the police look like they're involved in it.
What have the police got to do with children working for, let's be honest, a pretty good wage of 13 pence a week?
They shouldn't be involved in it. They should not be involved in it.
Then we go to The Sun, page 9. So it's a big one. Motorway madness. A police plan to raise extra revenue from M1 safety cameras goes against a pledge on the force's own website not to use them to rake in funds. The vow appears on the site of Bedfordshire Police, which wants to... That's us guys. Which wants to permanently switch on some M1 cameras to fill a £1 million gap in its budget. The county's Police and Crime Commissioner, Ollie Martins, announced the scheme to MPs on Parliament's Home Affairs Select Committee. Mr Martins said, I'm now looking at increasing...
I mean, you're doing impressions now.
What we raised by maxing out on the speed cameras on the M1. He wants to max out on the speed cameras.
The thing is, right, Ollie Martin says it, the others would have just done it.
Strict enforcement of the speed limit could raise £1 million. And that's better than... And he's right. And this is what it comes down to. I'm taking the mick, but this is right. Strict enforcement of the speed limit could raise £1 million, and that's better than losing 25 more police officers.
It is. Yep.
I agree.
Well, what's he supposed to do? Because he wants more funding. The referendum, he didn't get it. He now knows he's not going to get further funding. He's trying to keep people safe. He's done nothing wrong. I think he's talking sense.
What do you think about the sponsorship then?
I think the sponsorship thing is a bit weird, but I think that these are drastic measures. If EasyJet are on there, or McDonald's or Lidl, I don't think it's going to look particularly good. It's not going to look right, but if it protects the public, it protects the public.
Last night... This is great. We're like having a proper We're like the question time for thickos. Last night, ex-Met commander John O'Connor blasted Mr Martin's M1 camera plan saying, it's not fair on the motorist. We shouldn't be speeding. I've got 9 points on my licence. I got angry when I got the letter. I got furious.
But you broke the rules.
It's my fault entirely. Not fair on the motorist. Stick to the speed limit then.
I respect you for saying that. Fair play.
What's that?
Put your hands up, owning up. Fair play to
It's
you.
my fault. It was, and I was angry. And bloody cameras. The police. They should.
No, you're right foot.
I was speeding.
Yeah.
I was speeding. It's not fair on the motorist. Of course, it's perfectly fair on the motorist.
It's a great way of making £1 million. Fairly quickly, fairly easy.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll put it out there, dear listener. How would you make £1 million? Now, if this were a movie, Ollie Martins would be walking down the street and he'd see a sign stuck in a shop window saying, "Battle of the Bands competition, first prize £1 million," and he'd get a band together and they wouldn't win. They'd come second. But
No. You missed out a bit.
Yeah.
He'd find 50 quid in the gutter, right, and spend it on a guitar.
Yeah.
They'd say, Ollie, what are you doing? We're cash strapped. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I have a dream.
Yeah.
He's taking it to the Battle of the Bands.
Battle of the Bands. We can put it to him. I don't know if Ollie might be interested in the Battle of the Bands competition. First prize £1 million. I don't know if there's one going on. If there is, dear listener, over to you. How would you make £1 million quickly? 03459 455 555. Daily, let's do this Wixom story. I'm just because it sounds very echoey. Let's just do this and then we're going to play R. Kelly remix to Ignition.
Oh really?
Why the hell not? Why the hell not?
It's not Friday though, but
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Feels like Friday.
Thursday evenings. A lot of people go out because it's almost the weekend.
Yeah.
So it's good enough for me.
do you know what I used to call Thursdays when I was able to go out and be free?
Thursdays.
Thirsty Thursdays.
Did you call them?
Every day's that day, surely. When were you?
Said something very, very rude off microphone there, dear listener.
That was good.
Residents living in Wixhams in Bedfordshire say after years of waiting, they're still no clearer to knowing when a train station will be built. It was initially due to be ready in spring this year and then delayed until December, but guess what? Work hasn't even started. We can't tell you when the train station's due, what it's going to cost or why it's delayed, because we haven't been given those answers, despite trying to find out. We asked some people. Well, Justin Dealey is there for us this morning.
Well, he's always there for you.
I'm always there for you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
exactly. Always there for you.
Justin, why is this station needed?
4 villages being created as part of Wixhams, which is just outside Bedford. In actual fact, I bought some very good second-hand furniture from a property in Wixhams about 2 years ago. Seriously, I did. I kitted out my whole property.
I've got to remind all of us, myself included, you know this is going out on the radio, yeah? Okay, cool, brilliant, thank you.
So, in total, 4,500 homes are going to be built there, taking in between 15 to 20 years to complete. The first village, that's almost complete now after work started in 2007. There were delays waiting for a shop to be ready. I've seen the shop. It's now open. That opened a while ago.
What do they sell?
They sell things like bread and milk and things
like a corner
that.
shop?
Yeah, like a corner shop, like a bigger version though. Lots of people there. It's very nice actually. But the residents are still waiting for a church, a doctor's surgery, and of course this train station. Yeah. The train station would be on the main line into London and to Bedford in the other direction. And once it arrives, obviously people will be using that to commute quicker, and it will be desirable for people buying properties in the future. The station was expected to be ready by spring this year. But we reported, in actual fact, back in 2013, it was likely to be delayed until December. The developer Gallagher Estates said at the time the delay was due to the confusing arising from the West Coast Mainline franchise, and it's still not there.
Why is it not being built, Dealey? I need somewhere where I can go and urinate in a corner.
We've been told by some local residents that they think it's due to funding. Last night, we finally heard back from Gallagher Estates. How long do you think we waited for a response here?
I mean, a year?
We waited 4 months of asking for a response. That's still 4 months.
Yep.
They told us we cannot give you a definitive comment because the delivery of the railway station is not in our control.
Okay.
However, we continue to work with Network Rail to secure the necessary agreements to bring the station forward. So we then spoke to Network Rail, and they told us, well, can you go back and speak to Gallagher Estates? So it's unclear who's actually in control. Bedford Borough Council say on their website that Gallagher have committed more than £17 million to create and design this railway station.
OK, we're going to have a bit of R. Kelly now. I'm just going to read the back announcement, the back anno, OK? We have this thing, and it kind of sums up the story and then says where we're going next. In the next hour, we'll be speaking to a woman who moved hundreds of miles to live at Wixham's for the train station. Anyone, guys? Anyone have a clue what that means?
No, usually I don't.
I'm intrigued. It's the governor, Mr. R. Kelly.
Mix. Now I'm not trying to be rude, but hey, pretty girl, I'm feeling you. The way you do the things you do reminds me of my Lexus cool. That's why I'm all up in your grill, trying to get you to a hotel. You must be a football coach, the way you got me playing the field. So baby, give me that, and let me give you that. Running her hands through my fro, bouncing on 24s. Why they say I'm ready? It's the remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body, got every man in here wishing. Sipping on coke and rum, I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's the freaking weekend, baby, I'm about to have me some fun. Bounce, 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 bounce. Come on. Now it's like murder, she rolled. Once I get you out them clothes, privacy's on the door, but still they can hear you screaming more. Girl, I'm feeling what you're feeling. No more hoping and wishing. I'm about to take my key and stick it in the ignition. So give me that, let me give you that. Running her hands through my fro, bouncing on 24s. Why they saying I'm ready? It's the remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body, got every man in here wishing. Sipping on coke and rum, I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's the freaking weekend, baby, I'm about to have me some fun. Crystal popping in the Stretch Navigator. We got food everywhere, as if the party was catered. We got fellas to my left, honey's on my right. We bring them both together, we got juking all night. Then after the show, it's the after party. Yeah, and after the party, it's the hotel lobby. Yeah, around about 4, you gotta fill the lobby. Then take it to your room and somebody. Can I get a can I get a running her hands through my fro, bouncing on 24. Come on, why they say I'm ready? It's the remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body, got every man in here wishing. Sipping on coke and rum, I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's the freaking weekend, baby, I'm about to have me some fun. It's the remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rolling that body, got every man in here wishing. Sipping on coke and rum, I'm like, so what, I'm drunk. It's the freaking weekend, baby, I'm about to have me some fun. Come on, girl, we off in this Jeep, fogging windows up, blasting the radio in the back of my truck, bouncing up and down, stroke it round and round to the remix. We just bugging it out.
There we go. That's Richard Kelly and his track Ignition brackets the remix to thereof. 03459 455 555.
Hey, Kelly, what's up, man?
Whoa, hey, that could have been very dangerous. Sorry.
My headphones don't work, but I'm just messing with him.
You're messing with my melons, man. Stop messing with my melons. You talk so hip. 03459 455 555. Right. You think about it. You haven't really got a problem with the police being branded or sponsored.
Yeah,
No. I'm talking to the listener now.
Oh.
You think, because they got a brain. You think you have.
Some do.
But you haven't, right? Just the 03459 455 555. Tell me why you think that branding the police or sponsoring the police is a bad idea, because I'll shoot down your argument in flames. Turning on the speed cameras to make £1 million. I haven't got a problem with that. It's good to know that they're on or off. And if you had to make £1 million, like, quick sharp, how would you do it? 03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M1, it's very slow southbound past junction 13 for Bedford after there was an accident there earlier, but it's been put onto hard shoulder now. On the A1M, it's busy southbound at junction 7 for Stevenage, and on the M25, it's starting to build up anti-clockwise from junction 21 for the M1 towards junction 19 for the A41 in Watford. It's also busy on the North Orbital Road at the M25 junction 21A roundabout, and looking at the cameras, the roads are looking quite wet, so visibility or surface break could be a problem. There's no reported problems on the trains though. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Let's all take a sharp intake of breath because the next voice you're going to hear has just bashed his knee.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Saqib Ali's appointment is expected to be confirmed at the Police and Crime panel this evening. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security. They include EasyJet flights to and from London Luton Airport. And a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death, against police advice.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
England have lost 4 early wickets as they chase an unlikely 284 to win the third and final test against Pakistan in Sharjah and square the series. England started the final down 46 for 2, but Joe Root was out in the second over with James Taylor and then Johnny Bairstow dismissed soon after. A moment ago, Samit Patel was out as well. England 59 for 6 with captain Alistair Cook 25 not out. On to football in the Champions League. Willian's late winner gave Chelsea a much-needed 2-1 victory over Dynamo Kiev. Relief then for Jose Mourinho.
To qualify, we didn't need a win, so it was not a drama. The 1-1 was not a drama. But I think by the mental point of view was important, a reaction to a negative moment.
But Arsenal's qualification is out of their own hands after a 5-1 thrashing away to Bayern Munich. Here's manager Arsene Wenger.
We made things quite easy for them with our defensive performance. When we went forward, we every time looked that we could create chances, and we had chances, but with a defensive performance like that, you go nowhere.
Tonight in the Europa League, Liverpool are away to Rubin Kazan, Tottenham host Anderlecht. Elsewhere, QPR have sacked head coach Chris Ramsey with former manager Neil Warnock placed in temporary charge. Stevenage striker Adam Marriott continued his comeback from injury with a goal in last night's 3-0 win at Welling Garden City in the Hearts Senior Cup. And Andy Murray's through to the third round of the Paris Masters. His next opponent is the Belgian David Goffin, a warm-up for this month's likely meeting in the Davis Cup final. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin at 7.
Thank you very much. I'm I've got this album that I've not heard for ages. I think we're going to go with this one. Let's go with this one.
Taxi, taxi. Hey, hey, hey. Taxi, taxi. Hey, hey, hey. Taxi, taxi. Back to my place. Here in the city, there's a lot we could do. A trip to the movies, cocktails for two. The Tower of London or the Change of the Guard. Go dancing at Stringfellow's, choosing is hard. But if like me you're tired of culture, I think I got a better idea. Let's go and get a taxi, taxi. Hey, 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 taxi, taxi. Hey, 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 taxi, taxi. Back to my place. To Planet Hollywood, a beautiful meal. The Madame Tussauds, those figures look real. The Trocadero is a whole lot of fun. The mousetrap must be good, it's had a long run. Please permit me another suggestion. I'm in a hotel terribly near. We're gonna get a taxi, drive and take us there. I will pay the fare. Back to my place. Art museums, exhibitions, don't you think they're drab? Let us lose our inhibitions and catch that cab. Taxi, taxi, I'm feeling very sexy, sexy. Hey, 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 taxi, taxi, back to my my place. You know, it's not very far, innit? That's a better bet. Working up his sweat. Back to my place. Taxi, taxi, ooh, do it in a taxi, taxi. I love it in a taxi, taxi. Oh, forget my place. That's nice.
This is Iain Lee.
I think we can just about get away with that.
Counties
Oh
Radio.
dear.
I must be the only person in the world that thought Tony Farino was better than Alan Partridge.
Kind of went out with Tony Farino.
I'm tempted. I might play another one in a minute. The whole album is just the Tony Farino album. Honestly, you can probably get it for like tuppence now on Amazon. It's just a joy. Unlike Steve Coogan's tedious, self-indulgent, boring, dull autobiography. If you bought that for Dad for Christmas, I'd hope you get the receipt. It's an awful book. Speaking to my friend yesterday who bought it as his holiday reading in New York. And here's a phone in for you guys. Books that you've left in hotels because they're so bad.
Oh dear.
He left it in his hotel room in New York and refused to bring it back. 03459 455 555. Books you've left in hotels or on the beach because they're too dull. Eddie's called in with one already. Morning, Eddie.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
What book have you left in a hotel or on a beach?
50 Shades of Grey.
You didn't really start trying to read that, did you?
I did, yes. Yeah, I had to leave it because I got a bit too excited.
Oh,
really?
for goodness sakes, Edward. Dearie me. What else have you called in about, Eddie?
My way of making £1 million.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Quickly.
Yeah.
I would go to the newsagents and I would buy 45 million lottery tickets. I'm a winner.
In very many ways, you're not.
Eddie, thank you for that. He's done the math. We're going to put all of these suggestions to Ollie Martins when he comes in later on. Thank you, Eddie.
Do you want to? Well.
03459 455 555. How would you make £1 million quickly? And books that you've left in hotel rooms or on beaches, not because they were arousing, because they were so poor.
50 Shades of Grey is not arousing, let me just tell you. I told you I read 1.5 books, and I am a book finisher generally, but it wasn't really a book. It was just the musings of a...
Did you finish off, or...?
Finish the chapter. You know what I mean?
Morning, Dan.
Morning.
There we go, you see.
Dull. He was a pain. I would have slapped him back.
One of the great things about having Danny here, we don't have to play BBC introducing tracks.
Oh.
That's all right, isn't it, Dan? There we go.
That's the only good thing about having Danny here, though, isn't it?
There's some great stories in the newspapers today. It's one of those days.
There's a brilliant picture. I don't know how you're going to describe it for people.
Of what?
Of the woman with the unfortunate trousers.
Oh, flipping it. Well, I'll just read it as the story's written. Page 3 of The Sun. My pyjama bottoms.
50 Shades of News coming up.
A mum of 3 wore her new... You might want to get rid of your kids for the rest of their lives because they're a pain in the bum. Speaking of pains in the bum, a mum of 3 wore her new pyjama bottoms for the first time and found part of the lettering on the waistband read anal instead of animal. Maria Wright, 23, paid £11 for her leopard print nightwear at budget clothes chain Peacocks. An apparent sewing mishap. If you've ever had an apparent sewing mishap, of course, 03459 455 555.
This is why you should buy British manufactured, because these foreigners don't realise what they're doing.
The apparent and then I've not read her quote before. Her quote's coming up.
Oh no.
An apparent sewing mishap meant the letters I and M were hidden. Maria Wright of Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, said, "It says animal all around, and then above my bum says anal."
But why would you want animal written on your pyjama bottoms anyway?
She was right. Okay, she was offered a full refund, and Peacocks is investigating. I mean,
there's nothing to investigate, is there?
Well, they're going to investigate.
It's an unfortunate seam.
Oh dear, this is going out on the radio. No wonder we weren't at the Gillards last night.
Oh, shame.
Not with this tosh. So, slippers in a minute. I want to get to the story of
She didn't have
romance.
slippers to match, did she?
I want to get to the story of romance,
Oh,
right?
do, yeah.
And romance, because you're not allowed to do anything these days. Well, you are. But this is a weird one. So when I go into Starbucks, isn't it, that writes your name and what's your name? So they write
get
it
it
on the
wrong
cup.
every time.
Well, I often call myself Dick. When I put Ian. The last time I said no, I did it yesterday. The time before I said Ian, and they put Ethan, and then the woman who was then offering me the drink looked at the name, couldn't read Ethan. She was foreign, and just went latte. She didn't even read my name.
So anyone could have got your drink.
In hot water, coffee shop barista who left love-struck note on a blonde's cup. There's always something sweet on offer at coffee shops. Oh, for crying out loud! What a... But what Laura Roberts gets every time she visits her local Starbucks isn't found in the display counter. You know that all of these places have got secret menus?
Right.
Sorry?
Well...
Oh, man alive. Every place that you go shopping in, the Starbucks, the Costa, the Mackie D's, the BKs, all of these places have got secret menus that have got special foods or drinks on that they don't advertise.
Yeah, but if they don't advertise them, how long's that food or drink been there?
No. You ask for it and they say, sorry. You ask for it a second time. They say, I don't know what you mean. They say, then you ask for it again. Off the secret menu. Oh, yes, sir, I'll just get it for you. Seriously.
How many times do you give them until you accept that there's no such thing?
Mark, you know about the secret menus, don't you?
No, I don't.
Oh, they're everywhere, and I can't think of any specific examples. My sister was well into this. There's like the best coffee you can get in Starbucks. That's the best value for money with the highest concentrate of coffee is a secret coffee. Oh. You have to do a wink and a nudge to get it. 03459. I mean, we're doing like a month of phoning in 40 minutes, and no one's really biting. But 03459 4555. Danny, you know about the secret menus, don't you?
No.
Oh.
It's because they're a secret.
Honestly, someone will call in. Go on, Mark. What you got?
I never use any of those coffee places. Anyway, I tend to make them at home myself. You know. I put 2 spoonfuls of coffee in, and that's it, sort of thing.
Well, you would do. You would do. I like giving those guys £3 for a lot of warm milk.
I can't believe we've got no barristers listening.
The baristas have got actual training. Baristas just know how to work the coffee machine.
They're no good in a court of law.
No. And trust me, I found out the hard way. Mark, get to the point!
Get to the point. I know you've got Ollie Martins, the Police and Crime Commissioner, coming on.
No, we've not. No, we've not. Not necessarily. I have to ask him if he wants to come in.
Oh, OK. All right, fine.
Oh, right. He normally comes in, doesn't he? He normally responds quite quickly.
He's very good at coming in and answering questions, yes.
Well, I was curious. You know, he wants to get a deputy.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, somebody's got to authorise for him to appoint that deputy.
Yes.
So, you know, is it some, you know, because it's going to take a bit of funding, does he actually have an overall of the funding? So he gets a deputy, and is it him that's wasting the money? I imagine it'll be wasting the money. Somebody's obviously...
Well, hang on, now, you've made an assumption, Mark, that getting a deputy is a waste of money.
Well,
loads of the other ones have got deputies. It's very common. It's not. He's not being, doing anything outrageous.
Here's something as well. Ollie Martins is in the Territorial Army. So if he gets called up, no, I wasn't going to say that.
Oh.
If he gets called up, who takes over from him?
Well,
do you want someone who's been appointed to do the job, or someone who falls into it just because he's the nearest one handy?
I just thought it was strange that that somebody has got to authorise, to in this times that they're wanting to cut back, thinking, I'll get a deputy, but
Have you got a problem? Have you got a problem with you get pulled over by the coppers and you notice that on the Panda car it says Bedfordshire Police are proudly sponsored by Blockbuster.
To be quite honest, I don't see too many police cars around.
Yeah, but there might be
you
more
might
of
see
them.
more, yeah.
If they're getting sponsored by BHS or CNA, the 2 of those companies I've just named don't exist anymore. But if they're getting sponsored by Littlewoods, then you might see more police cars.
I tend not to notice what's on there, except the blue lines or the blue writing and the blue light sort of thing to say get out the way or it's a police vehicle. I don't tend to look at the small
Exactly, Mark. Thank you, and that's the point. People wouldn't notice, and as long as it didn't affect, that they don't deploy. You flash your little staff badge and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir." On you go.
It would leave them open to the suggestion of that they may be influenced by that sponsorship, though.
Yeah. Okay. So suggest. I got something I can suggest. Suggest that. You know what I mean? I don't mean anything.
That's not an argument.
That's a finger.
Yeah, exactly.
Pointing upwards.
The
One.
bird. But if they go and attend the scene of a crime, someone gets prosecuted, and they say, yeah, okay, I'm accused of doing something to EasyJet, let's say, they've stitched me up because they're sponsored by EasyJet. That's a conversation you don't need to be having.
Anyway, this woman...
Oh, okay. Too strong, eh? Too strong.
No, I wasn't listening. That's how strong... I'm too strong.
Wow.
This woman, she went into Starbucks, the fella behind the counter, barista, wrote her name on it, smiley face, then he crossed out some of the text at the bottom of the cup so that it said, "You're extremely hot."
Yeah, he keeps doing it though, doesn't he?
He keeps doing it. It's romance. Now, listen, if he's turning up at her window at the middle of the night with a knife between his teeth and a rose up his bum, then yes, that is inappropriate. He's being romantic. You can't even ask birds out anymore. You can't even... Danny, when was the last time you asked a bird out, Dan?
What sort of bird?
There we go, you see?
If he kept doing it and he wasn't my type...
Oh...
No, what I mean is, if he kept doing it and you didn't fancy him and he was a bit... You would stop going in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, go to Costa's, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you could be...
I just think it's a little bit of romance. And I know that Justin has taken this to the streets.
Depends how it's done.
Well, what he does is he goes out and he approaches people with the microphone and encourages them to say what he wants to...
It depends how these romantic approaches are done. I've said to a waiter before, no oil with my salad, thanks.
Oh...
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there's a lane blocked anti-clockwise between junction 17 for Maple Cross and 16 for the M40, and it's looking quite slow on the speed sensors. The police are warning to approach it with care. On the M1, it's slow southbound between past junction 13 for Bedford because of an accident earlier, and the A1M southbound is slow at junction 7 for Stevenage. It's also busy on the A1 southbound through Borehamwood from the Holiday Inn towards the Stirling Corner, and on the North Orbital Road in St Albans, there's roadwork still in both directions between the Park Street roundabout and the London Coney roundabout, and it's looking quiet at the moment, but it could get busy later on this morning, and there's no reported problems on the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. I think we might have to have another Tony Frino song in a second. This whole album is going to be the soundtrack for my day. Oh, it can't be. I've got the kids. 6:46. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the 2nd anniversary of his death against police advice. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's going to be a rather soggy bonfire night tonight, unfortunately. There's going to be lots and lots of rain around today at times. We've got some dribs and drabs a bit this morning, a few outbreaks of patchy stuff mostly. It's very cloudy and it's also very mild, and that's the way it's going to stay, not just for today, tomorrow, but also over the weekend too, feeling quite muggy at times even. So a few outbreaks of rain around this morning, then it'll probably dry out for a good period through the afternoon. It'll be still very cloudy, but dry through the middle part of the day, and then by the time we get into the mid-afternoon, again, we've got some more outbreaks of rain spreading in on a fairly brisk southwesterly wind. So a rather wet and a windy end to the day, staying wet and windy through this evening's rush hour and indeed for much of the evening tonight, probably clearing by around 8 or 9 o'clock. So if you're doing late fireworks, then pop your wellies on and it should be dry for at least sort of the second half of the night, if not from 9 o'clock onwards. So feeling very mild tonight, lows of 12 or 13 degrees. And then for tomorrow, dry start to the day. There'll be some rain on and off through the course of the day, feeling mild again. It'll turn quite windy at times too, but it should be dry on Friday night for any fireworks displays going on then. Very wet and very windy at times over the weekend, but again, just during the daylight hours inconveniently, and by night it should be dry once more. Saturday evening looks good for any bonfire fireworks displays. Yes, the ground will be wet, but it's looking dry and clear for the fireworks. That's the forecast.
Sauna with Sarah, then Tuesday, tequila with Claire. Wednesday, my personal jet to Barbados for dinner with Cher. Every girl wants a part of me, they should know better. One day each week I take it easy. Sunday religiously I clean my car, I watch some TV. Sundays jacuzzi with Susie and her daughter Denise. Suddenly Lulu's on the phone. She should know better. She knows Sunday I'm alone. Yeah. Sunday I read the news. I wash my hair, I polish my shoes. Sunday's by far the best. The girls know I don't like to be pestered on Sunday. Sunday for me. No one but me, girl. My time of the week, girl. Some fresh coffee, I think. A croissant and a little game of solitaire. Al fresco, of course. Sunday's all mine. Sunday's on fire. Sunday's all mine. Sunday's on fire. Sunday, it's all mine. A chicken chow mein, a bottle of wine. Sunday, I thank the Lord for making me. I never get bored on Sunday. Sunday for me. Sunday for me, girl. It's my time of the week.
I've not heard that album for about, gosh, about 20 years. 20 years. I was having to ride that fader there.
Nobody calling me on Sunday, okay? Nobody calling me on Sunday.
I think the only song that's got swear words in there, well, it hasn't even got swear words, is and I've got to be careful how I say this, The River of Our Souls. The chorus could be interpreted as being a little bit fruity. Dealey!
He just loves Sundays.
Yeah, he
loves
loves
it.
Sunday. You're right, boss. It's a busy day. We've got chatting up women in Starbucks. We've got slippers coming on later. Oh, I've not even done. Where's the? Let me do this story. The papers are full of it today. Absolutely full of news. It's a joyous day. Hang on, and I know you've gone out on something a little bit more serious than this. Well, actually, I don't think anything it can be more serious. Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
Looking forward to the ladies' respective later.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Oh boy, I can't wait. There's one story where... Here we go. Jet forced to land by Billy Goat's Gulf. What? A plane made an emergency landing when the crew got wind of a fire, but it turned out the smoke alarm was triggered by goats letting rip in the cargo hold. This is in the Mirror, right?
Letting rip.
Letting rip. The jet carrying 2,186 goats was diverted when
How desperate would you be for goats that you didn't put them?
was spotted. The official report concluded the alarm was set off by the herd of goats' methane and droppings.
Gosh.
Dirty protest.
They wanted to go home.
If they had an alarm in my car when I'm driving around with my boys, blimey, we'd never get anywhere. Daily.
Yeah.
What have you taken? You've gone al fresco. What have you taken to the streets, boss?
You've been talking about Bedfordshire Police this morning,
Yes.
and this fantastic idea that Ollie Martins has got to have the local police force sponsored because they need more money.
Yep.
No, I think it's a fantastic idea. You know, the guy's desperate. So what do people on the streets think about this? The streets have spoken. Here's what happened. So what do you think about the idea of Bedfordshire Police being branded, being sponsored?
Complete It's
Excuse me?
rubbish, absolute rubbish.
Why?
They're not an advertising hoarding, they're a public servant.
Yeah, but surely if they've got to get money from somewhere, if the funding is lacking, isn't that one of the obvious ways to do so?
Absolutely not. Go to central government and state your case. It's down to central government to supply the money. That's where our taxes go.
If those police are sponsored, we are likely to see more police on the streets protecting us. So them having a brand on their back's not going to affect you, but if the police weren't there, that would affect you.
Now, that's all subjecture.
And it's true, though, isn't it?
Unfortunately, the way of the world is, if they do get sponsored, that money will no doubt be earmarked for other things. There's no guarantee it will put more bobbies on the beat. And if they do have branding on their backs, will that lead to some kind of moral conflict in their duties?
I'm not sure that I agree with the police having to look for funds outside. It could lead to bias in the way they operate.
But Ollie Martins are saying, look, we've got no choice. We need to bridge the funding gap. Sponsorship might be the answer.
I understand that, but I don't think they should be in that position.
But they are.
Okay, but they have to look, I think, for other solutions rather than sponsorship from companies. It can lead to bias in the way they operate.
Well, I don't think it would. I don't think being sponsored
No.
by...
They should only be answerable to us.
Exactly. So if Lidl
So
are
they
pay-
should only be paid by us.
Yeah, exactly. So if Lidl are sponsoring them, you don't see a problem. See, that's great, Kath.
What are you talking about? I'm not little.
You're very little. You're not as big as you think. Dealey?
Yes.
Oh, dearie me. We get paid for this.
I mean, it's just joke after joke after rubbish one after joke.
Those idiots at the Gillards, what on earth were they thinking, disinviting us? Anyway, Justin, excellent stuff. Ladies' perspective coming up.
Yep, absolutely, no problem.
Cheers, my dear. Speak to you in a bit. Ta-ta.
Great. And to close the show today, a song which has proved a tremendous international hit. The Turtles' first big one in Britain, Happy Together.
Imagine me and you, I do. I think about you day and night. It's only right to think about the girl you love and hold her tight. So happy together. If I should call you up, invest your time, and you say you belong to me, and it's my mind. Imagine how the world could be so very fine, so happy together. The dice, it had to be the only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together. I can't see me loving nobody but you for all my life. When you're with me, the skies will be blue for all my life. Me and you and me. No matter how they toss the dice, it had to be the only one for me is you, and you for me, so happy together.
I've just had a tip-off that involved in that Justin Daly package was a very, very famous person. We'll find out in a sec. Let the Turtles do the work and then we'll find out. Hang on.
How is the weather? So happy together.
Okay, so we're listening out for a dirty old Scottish millionaire, okay? Let's have a listen. This is just the end of Justin Daly's package. I'm being told... So let's go to the end of Justin Daly's package.
On their
Not this
backs,
guy.
Will
Not this
that
guy.
lead to some kind of moral conflict in their duties?
Not this guy.
I'm not sure that I agree with the police.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome Mr. Duncan Bannatyne?
Could lead to bias in the way they operate.
But Ollie Martins is saying, look, we've got no choice. We need to bridge the funding gap. Sponsorship might be the answer.
What do you think, Duncan?
I understand that, but I don't think they should be in that position.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, two lanes have been blocked anti-clockwise just before junction 16 for the M40, which is causing a delay back from junction 18 for Chorleywood. On the anti-clockwise M25 as well, another vehicle's broken down at junction 12 for the M3, which is causing a queue back from Staines. And in Neasden on the North Circular Road, it's very slow westbound from the M1 Staples Corner towards the Neasden interchange. That's because of the roadworks there. On the A6 Paula Radcliffe Way in Bedford, there's roadworks at Clapham Road, so that could cause delays on the Bedford Western bypass. And there's no reported problems on the trains at the moment. Samantha Braff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. It's all go here at BBC Three Counties Radio. If only one of the people going was going towards the kitchen and the coffee making facilities. Unbelievable.
local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: criticism over Bedfordshire appointment of Deputy Police Commissioner, flights suspended to Egyptian tourist resort, and memorial plaque is put up at Luton Police Station.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised. Saqib Ali's appointment is expected to be confirmed at the Police and Crime panel this evening, but Commissioner Ollie Martin's Conservative opponent, Catherine Holloway, says it shouldn't be happening as the force battles funding cuts. More from Ben.
The Conservative candidate for the upcoming Police and Crime Commissioner elections has described the appointment as insensitive and inappropriate. At a time when the Commissioner is asking for more money for Bedfordshire's police, she says the timing of this appointment sends the wrong message. However, the Association of Police and Crime Commissioners says 3/4 of PCCs have deputies.
Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security. They include EasyJet flights to and from London Luton Airport. The government say a bomb may have caused a Russian plane to crash shortly after taking off from Sharm at the weekend. The Egyptian president is in the UK and will hold talks with David Cameron today. A memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death, against police advice. Mr Briggs died in police custody in November 2013. Bedfordshire Police had told the family to postpone the plaque going up and say no decision has yet been made about taking it down. Leon's mum, Margaret, was at the plaque's unveiling.
Well, we think it's great that we had so much support tonight. They can't get back my trust because they told me the other night they were going to let us put the plaque up. We just will not speak to them again.
Train services on the Great Northern Route between Hitchin and Royston are expected to return to normal this morning after yesterday's disruption. A woman was hit by a train at Letchworth Garden City yesterday morning and was airlifted to hospital with serious leg injuries. Residents living in Wixham's off the A6 between Luton and Bedford say they're disappointed that a planned train station is still no closer to being built. Work started on the development in 2007. The train station was due to be completed this year. Jessica Cooper reports.
In total, 4,500 homes are to be built at Wixham's across 4 villages. The first is almost complete. The planned train station was due to be finished in spring this year, but was delayed until December. Now, residents who moved to the area for the train station say they're disappointed at how this has been handled, and some are considering moving away. The developers Gallagher Estate say the delivery of the station is not in their control, and they're working with Network Rail to secure the necessary arrangements to bring the station forward.
In sport, England's hopes of winning the third test against Pakistan have collapsed on the final day in Sharjah. England started on 46 for 2, chasing 284 to win.
That looks close, it's out, it's another one. Fourth wicket of the morning, and we haven't even been playing for half an hour. And Patel is on his way, third LBW of the morning. 59 for 6.
The weather cloudy with some light rain this morning, heavier rain later this afternoon, a maximum temperature 15 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Flipping it, we didn't half cram a lot into that first hour. I'm exhausted, exhausted. Plenty more to come. How would you raise £1 million quickly? Knee-jerk reaction. Yeah, of course you got a problem with the police being sponsored, but think about it. There's no problem, really. Actually, it's not a bad idea. Ollie Martins wants all the speed cameras turned on the M1 so the police can make £1 million. Again, I mean, if you're not speeding, what's the problem? I don't see a problem with any of these things. Personally, I'd prefer the police were given a bit more money, that they didn't have to resort to these measures. But. 03459 455 555. If you had to make £1 million sharpish, how would you do it? Mum's upset because her daughter keeps getting, romantic comments written on her cups in Starbucks. I mean, it doesn't even... what's the problem with that, guys? And slippers are dying out. Not for me, they're not. I've got a pair at home and I'm wearing a pair now. Love my slippers, innit? Love them.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Now, Bedfordshire's Police and Crime Commissioner will officially hire a new deputy today, a gentleman by the name of Saqib Ali. It's an insensitive decision, according to the Conservative rival for Ollie Martin's job, Catherine Holloway, who joins on the line now. What's your beef, Catherine?
Well, my beef, Iain, is frankly that paying somebody £30,281 a year for 3 days' work a week is completely and utterly inappropriate at exactly the same time, the precise moment when you're asking the people of Bedfordshire to back your petition over an acute shortage in funds. It's ridiculous.
So you're jealous of Mr. Ali?
I'm not in the least bit jealous of him because I'll actually be standing for election in a political post. This is an individual who's a wholly political man. He stood as a parliamentary candidate in North East Bedfordshire, as I'm sure you know, back in May. But none of your listeners will have had a chance to vote for him. Don't you think that sounds fundamentally undemocratic?
Well, no, not at all, because it's the police force. It's not democratic.
It's not democratic. I think all of the decisions of the police force have to be subject to scrutiny, which is why you have a commissioner in the first place.
Yeah, exactly. The commissioner. Catherine, just to stress that point. Ollie Martins has been voted in to because people trusted him to make the decisions. So you don't have to vote in everybody. You don't have to, have a referendum on every decision he makes. So it's incorrect to say it's undemocratic.
Well, one of the things that your listeners, I feel, most object to is the politicisation of policing.
Oh, come on! You're for the Conservatives. This whole thing about the PCCs not being Conservative, and I'd rather hear what you're upset with, not what my listeners are upset with.
Okay, what I'm upset with. If you want to hear Iain, let me
I will, Catherine. I just want to address the incorrect point that you've made. The whole thing was supposed to be non-political, but everyone, David Lloyd, Ollie Martins, everybody's coming from a political angle. Of course they are.
Well, can we actually explain who David Lloyd is? David Lloyd, as you know, is the Conservative Police and Crime Commissioner in Hertfordshire.
He's got a deputy. He's got a deputy, hasn't he?
He has a deputy, but why I wouldn't want to have a deputy, if you'll let me explain, is that we're the second worst funded police force in the country. I'm fully aware that those forces that are better funded can, of course, afford to have a larger backroom office. But we can't, and the reason that I think it's so insensitive, having ridden out in patrol cars...
So just to clarify, it's okay for David Lloyd. It's okay. No, it's okay. I just want to clarify, because I'm not quite up to speed this morning. Maybe I'm being dumb. It's okay for David Lloyd, Conservative, to have a deputy. It's not okay for Ollie Martins to have a deputy.
As I was saying, because we have the second worst funded police force in the country, and at the moment we have police officers in Bedfordshire on the front line who are putting in 12-hour shifts. It's not an appropriate time for the
It's okay for Thames Valley Police.
Life easier.
It's okay for Anthony Stansfeld, Thames Valley, Conservative, to have a deputy, because all of the forces are facing cuts. They're all facing cuts. It's okay for Thames Valley Police, Conservative, to have a deputy, but not Ollie Martins.
Iain, I don't think you're listening. We're the second worst funded police force in
Everybody's
the country.
facing cuts of tens of millions of pounds.
I do not need a deputy when I have 14 full and part-time posts in the office, including a chief of staff who's paid £62,000 a year. Can't any of those individuals deputise when Mr Martins is away? I don't believe it.
About 3/4 of all PCCs have a deputy, so it's just really odd. What I'm hearing, Catherine, is a personal attack on Ollie Martins when actually the whole system is flawed, if we to follow your argument about deputies.
I don't think you're actually hearing at all. Iain.
I am listening, Catherine. And I don't think you're addressing any of the points. No, because I want you to address this point I'm specifically making, Catherine, instead of saying the agenda that you've got.
Okay.
The whole system... I'll phrase it again, because maybe you missed it. That you must be saying, then, that the whole system is flawed because 3/4 of PCCs have got deputies. It just seems a bit nasty that you're having a personal attack at Ollie.
It isn't in the least a personal attack. I have nothing against Mr Martins. I have no opinion on Mr Martins personally. It is not a personal attack. It's looking at the actual funding that's available. I don't think that people can accept over £30,000 a year being paid in the back room at the time when they're being asked to sign a petition about funding and an acute shortage of funds for Bedfordshire Police. It doesn't make sense. I'm a former reporter. It's an absurdity to me. It's the sort of thing that people need to know about.
I don't understand what you're seeing. I don't understand. I used to be a student. I don't get what that's got to do with anything. Why did you mention that?
Why did I mention it?
Yeah. Why did you mention that you're a former reporter? I don't quite...
Well, because as a former reporter and as a former presenter, it was my job to get to the absolute heart of the matter and to bring to public attention things which are fundamentally absurd. And as far as
it's fundamentally absurd then.
Appointment is fundamentally absurd.
But then the whole system is flawed. I don't understand why you're not railing against the whole system where three-quarters of PCCs have got deputies. They're all facing cuts. They're all struggling. They're all facing cuts.
Because every single office has to look at its own budget. And also, we have a very specific situation here in Bedfordshire. We're being asked to sign a petition about acute shortage of funding. It is completely illogical at that time to appoint somebody who's being paid over £30,000 a year for 3 days' work a week.
What do you think about the new funding formula?
I think that it is obviously a very, very difficult and challenging time for Bedfordshire.
Do you think the decision to keep the funding the same was fair and right?
Well, the decision hasn't been taken yet. The consultation process is just over. But can I just say I fully endorse the specialist opinion of the Chief Constable.
So you're happy with Bedfordshire funding staying at 0.9%? That you're happy with that staying the same?
And you're not listening to me.
Catherine.
Because of counter-terror policing.
Thank you very much indeed. I think we had an answer. I think we may have had an answer there, Catherine. Can you just clarify? Because I am listening to you and you're not answering my questions.
Well,
are you happy?
I'm not being given any chance to finish.
You're given plenty of chance. You're just answering the questions you've got written in your head. Are you happy with the funding staying at 0.9%?
I've already told you that I'm not. And the reason for that is because of the very specific demands on Bedfordshire Police around policing of Luton and
Took two askings to get the question answered.
I'm agreeing with you, Ian. I am providing...
No, you're not agreeing with anything because I've not given you an opinion. I'm asking.
If I'm a PCC in Bedfordshire, like Bedfordshire Police's Chief Constable, we would be having to provide an umbrella of security for the capital and for UK PLC on the basis of what council taxpayers are paying and on the basis of the share of national police funding. That isn't right and it must change.
What would you do differently then? Where would you get the extra money needed from?
Well, the first thing that I would have to do, obviously, and in fact I am doing because I'm seeing the policing minister next week, is that I have to make representations about the way in which this funding formula is put together. It's a nonsense. Counter-terror, drugs crime and serious organised crime aren't even considered amongst the data when you're looking at the share that Bedfordshire Police will get. That cannot be right, and I will be very strongly making that argument.
And what would you do in the real world?
Right. Well, it might surprise you to know that I'm very interested at looking at all common-sense solutions that have merit. I'm not the sort of person who comes on and just shoots down in flames an idea.
Okay, well, let's hear some of those examples then.
Okay, because it comes from an alternative party. Now, what about the idea of sponsorship? I am considerably less exercised with what's written on the outside of a police car in Bedfordshire than what's going on in the inside.
So you support Ollie Martin's suggestion of sponsorship for the police?
In theory and in principle, I support the idea of sponsorship because it's already going on. I mean, I don't know whether you know, I've worked very extensively with City of London Police, and there they work with the banking industry. The banking industry sponsor the dedicated check.
Gosh, yeah, the banking industry aren't bent, are they?
Sorry?
The banking industry aren't bent, are they?
They've provided money to stop fraud.
Well, they've bankrupted the country.
You or I, every time we use a debit card or a credit
About the fraud that they commit. You see, that's where some people might have a problem. You say the banking industry of investing in the police. Well, hang on a second. They're the most fraudulent lot in the country.
Well, we don't have a banking industry that's based in Bedford. And surely if we're looking for any form of sponsorship, we should be looking for a company that's based in Bedford.
So you're agreeing with Ollie Martin's idea about sponsorship. Okay, what original ideas have you got?
Well, for example, we have a disproportionate share of policing, which is taken up by the nighttime economies in Bedford and Luton. Everybody who's in the villages and the market towns from north to south Bedfordshire complains that drawn into the void, if you like, are all of their policing. And I've sat in a police van with the entire Biggleswade contingent, for example, drawn into Bedford at 4 o'clock in the morning to deal with the pubbing and clubbing culture. We have to look at a nighttime levy on licensed properties because there is a cost of doing business, and that cost includes policing.
So you would charge pubs and clubs?
That's a cost of doing business. If you have a disproportionate amount of policing,
they pay for the police. They pay for the police already, don't they?
Don't pay for a disproportionate amount of policing, do
Supposing
they?
I get. I don't know, Catherine. Supposing I get burgled like 5 times in a year. Do I have to contribute more?
No, you don't have to contribute.
But I'm using a disproportionate amount of police time.
But we're talking about ratios. Do you, if you have 5 burglaries a year, require 14 police officers in police vans outside your
I'd be
house?
lucky if anyone turned up at all, wouldn't I?
Well, you obviously haven't been on the streets of Bedford as I have at 3, 4 and 5 in the
No,
morning.
I have
So
not.
you
I'm
know how
in
many
bed.
Police have to be there. And exactly the same is true of Luton. I haven't been in bed. I've been out with the police.
Well, good for you, Catherine. We're not playing top trumps on who gets up the earliest. We're not playing top trumps on who gets up the earliest. That's a pointless argument.
That you do get up very early because you have to do this show.
Not for much longer, the way things are going, I tell you that. Catherine, last night the Justice for Leon defied the police wishes and put up the plaque outside Luton Police Station. Touchy subject. How would you deal with it?
It is a touchy subject. I think it's premature. Can I say, first of all, that as far as the Briggs family is concerned, I heard Leon's mother, Margaret, speaking earlier. I'm a mother. I have 2 sons, and I cannot begin to imagine the distress that's been caused to her waiting 2 years for the IPCC to report. We also have 6 police officers, 5 officers and a detention officer who've been suspended throughout that entire period, and it's costing us £24,000 a month. I don't think it's appropriate for the plaque to be there before the inquiry has reported, and I don't think it's appropriate for that family or the police families to have had to wait this long.
Catherine, I enjoyed that. I hope you did too. I look forward to speaking to you again.
Absolutely. Let's spar again very soon.
Thank you.
Very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed, Catherine Holloway, who she wants Ollie Martin's job. 03459 455 555 BBC Three Counties Radio. Let's get the trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M1 is very slow southbound through junction 12 for Flitwick towards 11 for Dunstable, and it's also busy past junction 10 for Luton Airport towards junction 9 for Redbourne 2. On the North Orbital Road at the M25 junction 21A roundabout there are queues, and also in Watford on the Lower High Street it's very busy around the Bushy Arches. In High Wycombe there's roadworks on Glenister's Road at the junction for Parker Norway, so that could cause some delays, but at the moment it's not looking too bad. And on the train departure boards there's no reported problems at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much, Sammy. I enjoyed that. No, I enjoyed that a lot. Not the travel. I didn't. I wasn't. The travel I'm nonplussed by. I enjoyed talking to Catherine. I'll tell you what she's got, Catherine. That I've only heard in Ollie once.
Chutzpah.
Spunk. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Passion.
Yeah.
And I've heard it once in Ollie. Once, I think it was during the referendum. I can't remember when he was angry, and I said to him afterwards, "You should be like that more often. Honestly, it would do you and your image the world of good." She had bucket loads of it. Well, you know, exactly. No, people can make their own judgments up on it and whether that's good or bad or whatever. But there was fire in her belly. Mm-hmm. 03459 455 555 717. These are your headlines. On BBC Three Counties Radio. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the 2nd anniversary of his death.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
We all know that the weather can be sunny and bright in one place, and just down the road it's blowing a gale, which is where BBC Weather Watchers comes in, your chance to join the nation's favourite conversation and share the weather where you are.
A new website that lets you tell the nation and your neighbours exactly what's going on. Get digitally creative and build a unique record day by day.
You'll hear the latest from Weather Watchers on BBC Three Counties Radio.
And you may even see your picture at 6:30 on Look East on BBC One.
To become a BBC Weather Watcher, simply sign in online at bbc.co.uk/Weather Watchers.
BBC, make it digital.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
03459 455 555 is the telephone number. 81333. Start your text 3CR if you will be so bold. And you can email, of course, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. Well, we were... it's all over the shop this morning, and I'm enjoying it. We were just speaking to Catherine Holloway, who is the Conservative rival for Ollie Martin's job as PCC for Bedfordshire. We're joined by Ollie Martins. Morning, Ollie.
Morning, Ian.
You've been all over the shop recently. You're on LBC. I know you're in to do some TV and bits and pieces. I don't know if you had a chance to hear what Catherine was saying.
No, I was too busy speaking to John Humphreys, I'm afraid.
Oh, blimey, look at that. You see, he's going up in the world, isn't he? Well, thank you for coming to speak to us. Catherine is furious that you are hiring a new deputy, a gentleman called Saqib Ali, at the cost of just over £30,000 a year, at a time when you have been out personally canvassing for signatures on a petition, when Bedfordshire police funding in particular is struggling and things are very tight. How do you justify that cost?
Well, I think it's part of the structure of governance that we have. So we have police and crime commissioners. If you look at my Conservative neighbour in Thames Valley, he has a deputy. If you look at my Conservative neighbour in Hertfordshire, he has a deputy.
Catherine's argument was that their funding situation wasn't as perilous as Bedfordshire's could be perceived to be.
There was a report published by the Taxpayers Alliance in August, which identified me as the third cheapest police and crime commissioner in the country after Wiltshire and North Wales. Even after Saqib's appointment, I will still be one of the cheapest police and crime commissioners in the country because the deputy's role is in the budget, and I will have saved over £200,000 during my 3 years' tenure compared to the cost to the police authority that preceded me. Now, it's important to say, this deputy is not a ceremonial role. You know, Saqib is going to have to work very hard for his money.
3 days a week. 30 grand for 3 days a week. I'll have some of that.
Yeah,
it's not a bad deal.
That's comparable with what's paid, as I've mentioned, in Conservative Cambridgeshire, Conservative Hertfordshire and Conservative Thames Valley. Now, as you say, I'm very busy trying to keep Bedfordshire Police viable. But there's more to the role of Police and Crime Commissioner than just trying to sort the force's finances out, and that's the bit that at the moment isn't getting looked after. You know, one of the ways in which we keep the force viable is through the collaboration that we're doing with Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire. Yeah. At the moment, I struggle to get to all the meetings I need to be at to represent my force's interests.
So that's what Mr. Ali will be doing.
That's one of the things that he'll be helping with.
Ms. Holloway says that if she had the job, if she had the gig, and obviously, you know, this is kind of what she's gearing up for, she wouldn't have a deputy. She wouldn't need one.
Well, and
we're losing coppers here.
She's also said, I understand, that she intends to get rid of quite a few of my staff because even though I'm one of the lowest cost PCCs in the country, she doesn't think it's low enough.
She thinks savings could be made.
But at the same time, she's bemoaning the fact that we didn't win an award at the COPAC Transparency Awards because we don't deliver a gold standard in transparency. Now, let me be clear. I deliver on my statutory obligations. I do what the law requires of me in terms of transparency. But I make no apology for not having a gold standard in relation to, you know, an all singing, all dancing website and the rest of it, because that costs money. So, you know, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we're going to be low cost and on the other hand say, and we're going to deliver a gold standard. So Ali, it's quite difficult for me to take my rival seriously, to be honest.
You know that we all know, because you're in talking about it, and we've had Boucher, we've had, but people, Bedfordshire is struggling, okay, with the new funding system, and it's staying at 0.9% for Bedfordshire. Everyone was gutted. This is a really tough time for all police services, but especially for Bedfordshire. You can understand, can't you, why some people, Ms. Holloway and others, think that hiring someone at 30 grand a year when we're losing coppers is a bad call.
No. Well, yes, it's easy to score populist and petty party political points on the back of it. Yes, absolutely. But you've got to look at what the Commissioner's role is about and what I need to deliver. You know, another thing that we need to do is look at the issues that are causing demand for our police officers. For example, repeat domestic abuse. You know, there are a large proportion of people who are repeatedly the victims of domestic abuse. Why is that? What can we do about it? We need to work with local authorities, health service, other partners.
Yeah.
We need to stop that demand impacting on our police.
I don't know what's going to do with Mr. Ali, though.
He's the person who's going to go to the meetings to get this work going.
So you're overstretched?
Because at the moment, I don't have the time to do it. No, and there is
Ms. Holloway would have the time to do it all.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
This thing about sponsorship of the police, you don't really mean it, do you? You're just saying it so you're just saying it to scare the government, aren't you?
Well, I'm highlighting the predicament that I'm in and some of the difficult decisions I'll have to take if the government stick to the formula that they're proposing.
So you're kind of stirring it up a little. You're not actually going to go and approach Primark or EasyJet or someone.
No, if it boils down to, I can do sponsorship and I can max out on the speed cameras, and that can help me keep 50 cops that I would otherwise have to reduce the force size by, then absolutely I will do that. You know, my responsibility is to keep the county as safe as I can, and if that's what I have to do in order to keep the force size where it is. Because, you know, we've got a ridiculously low level of police officers, 169 per 100,000 population, national average 232, and the Met have 388 for dealing with the sort of problems that we're having to deal with. You know, the 4th highest level of gun crime per head, 5th highest level of burglary, robbery, vehicle crime, 7th highest level of knife crime, a terror threat, and a serious organised crime problem. And we don't have the cops that we need to deal with it. Government is giving £33 million to the other 5 forces in our region who don't have these problems, and they're not giving anything to us.
Who would your ideal sponsor be?
Well, I'm not going to go through.
You must
lists,
have considered some company. EasyJet?
No. I mean, we will have an ethical and a reputational framework for taking this decision if we go
found out
down
that the
this
police
route.
in London, some of them are sponsored by the bank. So it turns out ethics doesn't necessarily. But you must have some businesses. Have you spoke to any business leaders about the possibility of sponsorship funding in the future?
No, I haven't. But I don't think there will. I don't think we'll have a shortage of candidates. I think it's a good opportunity.
And then we go to page 9 of the Sun. This is you. A police plan to raise extra revenues from M1 safety cameras goes against a pledge on the force's own website not to use them to rake in funds. Motor pay madness. And basically, the story is that you have suggested that you will turn on all the speed cameras between junction 10 and junction 13 of the M1 so that you can raise £1 million. Is this true?
Yes. Yeah. And again, if that's what I have to do to protect 25 police officers, so I don't have to reduce the force by 25 police officers, then that's what I'll do.
The where is it? Ex-Met Commander John O'Connor, this is from the Sun, blasted you, saying it's not fair on the motorist. This risks the public losing respect for law enforcement because it's morally indefensible.
Oh, so it's morally defensible to break the speed limit? Is that a former cop arguing that? Is it?
It would appear so, yes.
Oh well, that's a rather unusual position for a police officer to be taking.
It's stupid, greedy, he continues, and makes a mockery of the law. It shows the contempt in which the public are held by authorities, by you. You're holding the public in contempt, according to this gentleman.
This is a Metropolitan Police officer where they're used to having 388 police officers per 100,000 compared to our 169. Perhaps if that police officer would like to come to Bedfordshire and see what our police officers are delivering, how hard they have to work, how overstretched they are, he might change his opinion.
Are you worried, Ollie, because you have been in the... We've got a friend texting me saying, hey, Ollie Martin's just been mentioned on LBC. Are you worried that because these may seem like good ideas, these may be good ideas, once they get in the hands of certain parts of the press, shall we say, certain phone-in hosts or certain newspapers, are you not worried that you start to become a laughingstock?
I'm just focused on what my job is, which is to do the best I can to keep Bedfordshire Police viable and to keep the people of the county safe. I don't think I would be doing my job unless I exhaust all the options I've got to keep the number of cops that we've got. You know, I go out with our cops, I see how overstretched they are, how they're relentlessly going from shout to shout, how they, you know, there's lengths they go to try and keep people safe. And then I also listen to the public in the county who are saying, where are our police? Why is nothing happening about this drug dealing we're reporting? You know, so I get it from both sides, and it's all saying to me that Bedfordshire Police is getting very close to that point where it is no longer a viable police force, and I will do everything that I can to keep that day away.
How much longer you got until you're up for re-election?
May.
You going to run again?
That's my plan.
You are?
Yeah.
You're not had enough of this? Is this the job? Is this the gig that you imagined it would be when you took it?
Well, I've had to think. I have had to give serious thought to: do I want to preside over what I think is coming? But you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And I think at the end of the day, it's better. And my prospectus to the people of Bedfordshire is that it's better for someone with my values to be grappling with these issues than the alternative.
Ollie, nice to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. 03459 455 555. Let's get the trav.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are delays on the M25 anti-clockwise approaching junction 12 for the M3 with queues back from junction 16 for the M14 after a lorry broke down at the junction. On the M1 southbound it's very slow from junction 12 for Flitwick to 11 for Dunstable, and the A1M is busy too. It's slow past junction 8 for Hitchin towards 7 for Stevenage, and Clop Hill on the A6 Bedford Road it's beginning to build up southbound between Back Street and the A507. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. Let's get the news.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7:30. I'm Simon Oxley. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security. And a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death, against police advice.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
England's hopes of winning the third test against Pakistan have collapsed on the final day in Sharjah. England started on 46 for 2, chasing 284 to win, but collapsed to 59 for 6 inside half an hour. A short while ago, England were 96 for 6, with captain Alistair Cook 45 not out. In the Champions League, Willian's late winner gave Chelsea a much-needed 2-1 victory over Dynamo Kiev. Relief for Jose Mourinho.
To qualify, we didn't need a win, so was not a drama. The 1-1 was not a drama. But I think by the mental point of view was important, a reaction to a negative moment.
But Arsenal's qualification is out of their own hands after a 5-1 thrashing away to Bayern Munich. Here's manager Arsene Wenger.
We made things quite easy for them with our defensive performance. When we went forward, we every time looked we could create chances, and we had chances, but with a defensive performance like that, you go nowhere.
Tonight in the Europa League, Liverpool are away to Rubin Kazan, Tottenham host Anderlecht. QPR have sacked head coach Chris Ramsey, with former manager Neil Warnock placed in temporary charge. Stevenage striker Adam Marriott continued his comeback from injury with a goal in last night's 3-0 win at Welwyn Garden City in the Hearts Senior Cup. And Andy Murray is through to the third round of the Paris Masters. His next opponent is the Belgian David Goffin, a warm-up for this month's likely meeting in the Davis Cup final. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin is at 8.
This is Iain Lee
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I woke up this morning and everything was different. Something was strange in the air. I woke up this morning and everything was different. I knew that the ninjas had been there. I looked all around my bedroom, underneath the dresser, behind the bed, but nothing could be found. There was nothing left behind them, no way that I could find them. No fingerprints or crumbs on the ground. The ninjas are deadly and silent. They're also unspeakably violent. They speak Japanese, they do whatever they please, and sometimes they vacation in Ireland. The ninjas are deadly and silent. They're also unspeakably violent. They speak Japanese, they do whatever they please, and if you tear off their masks, 'cause they'll be smiling.
Lots of. Well, I enjoyed that 30 minutes. We were speaking to Catherine, and a couple of people I've blocked. I can see on this other screen. Listen to me. She wasn't answering the questions. And when she answered the questions, we moved on. It was fine. Don't come on here with script, guys. But I thought Catherine was excellent and handled herself very, very well. Then we had Ollie Martin speaking about it. Do you want to read some of these texts?
Yeah, let's.
Go on.
Alan in Linslade, I don't see what's wrong with an oil company or car manufacturer sponsoring the police.
The banks sponsor the police in London to deal with fraud. Does anybody not see how insane that is? They brought the country to its knees. Go and arrest them.
If I was a police officer, I wouldn't want that on my uniform.
You talk about how, we don't want, supposing that you have EasyJet sponsoring the police officers and then they'd let off EasyJet employees. Would anyone wonder why they're turning a blind eye in the golden, what do they call it? The hot mile, the horny mile, the golden mile, the bank mile, the square mile, the city.
The city.
Go on, read this one from Dan in Bedford. It doesn't make any sense at all. It's an insane text from a lawbreaker.
Once again, motorists used as bloody cash cows. Make the criminals' fines larger, i.e. burglars, muggers, etc. Dan of Bedford.
No, don't break the speed limit. Don't break the speed limit. You've only got yourselves to blame. I have 9 points on my licence. Whose fault is it? This guy's. My fault. Completely my fault.
Pat in Houghton Regis has sent you a long text, but he's also rung you up, so why don't you speak to him in person?
All right, he's on fader too. Morning, Patrick.
Good morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
God, I'm so fed up with, these political appointments that we got in the police force, the PCCs. They're meant to be non-political, and all we're hearing is politics all the time being played with our police officers.
It was always going to be the way, wasn't it? It was always going to be the way. I remember when I kind of started here at Three Counties that they were gearing up for the elections and all of this. And people were saying, oh, yeah, well, it's a non-political role. It's a non-political role. By the way, this is Ollie Martins from Labour, and this is David Lloyd. He's got a Conservative background. It was always going to be that way.
And I've appointed someone from Labour again as my deputy. It's making the police force a mockery all the way through.
I don't understand. I don't know the intricacies of how the PCC works, but I don't necessarily see the problem of having a deputy. If it makes the force more efficient, sometimes you have to spend more to create efficiency.
Well,
but you do, don't you?
You do have to spend more. I do agree with you there. But what for the life of me gets me is I've seen this police force in Bedfordshire go down a pan very quickly.
Yeah.
And they don't want to police. I mean, I thought police awareness courses, I've never agreed with them, but Ollie Martins explained it yesterday. He said, we give police awareness courses because we grab the money.
You just said something interesting there, right?
I mean, speed awareness courses, right?
Yeah, speed awareness, sorry.
You just said something interesting. You said the police don't want to police.
Yeah.
Of course they do. Of course, what ridiculous thing to say. Of course the police want to police. Of course they want to police. They want to stop crimes and they want to get crooks in prison and they want to stop rapes and drug dealing. Of course they want to do that. But if they haven't got the money, if they haven't got the officers, if they haven't got the time, if they can't afford to put the petrol in the cars, how are they supposed to do that?
Well, all I can say to you is I took your advice when you...
I'll never take my advice, Pat. I haven't got a clue what's going on.
The off-road motorbikes, you said, you've got to report it, Pat, you've got to report it. So I reported one yesterday. The response was, yeah, we're not going to chase them because they've got no crash helmet on, so
Don't matter. Keep reporting it. You have to keep reporting it, otherwise it won't show up in their figures. No, they won't. But what it means is, in 2-3 months' time, when we get them on and they say, well, we haven't had any incidents reported, you can then come on and say, right, well, I reported it on October the 30th and November the 3rd. Those things will now be logged.
The confidence is going in. Honestly, the confidence is going in.
But that's not Ollie Martins' fault, is it?
Well, Ollie Martins...
It's the government that's making the cuts to the police service.
Well, if you talk to some of the police officers in Bedfordshire, they won't make a comment on Ollie Martins because they're really down on what's happening with their police force. He's not leading them. He's not leading them at all.
He's not meant to lead them. I don't think it's the role of the...
he holds them accountable. He's the checks and balances man.
Yeah, but if he holds them to account, he's not doing a very good job, is he? Because we're getting substations closed down. The public are being pushed
no. But you've just... Anybody else that was in his job would probably have to close those substations down because there's no money. They've got like another 20 million quid worth of cuts coming. 20 million quid! You think things are tough now, Pat? You wait and see what it's like in 2 years' time.
I can't wait that long.
Yeah, I don't think any of us are going to be waiting that long. We'll get to Zena in a second. Zena's been very patient. She's the guest on our next story. We'll get to her in a second, I promise. Let me just speak to Dennis first. Morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
What you got for us, boss?
First of all, why the hell do we need these people in the first place? Even
which people?
Holly,
Immigrants?
Even Holly. What's wrong with the police chief we used to have? The only thing I can suggest is they have a lottery, a weekly lottery, and they take the winnings.
Oh, yeah, like a raffle or something.
And it can be a police raffle, not to advertise anybody else, but the police.
Do the police still have balls, in your opinion, Dennis?
Do they have balls?
Yeah, you know they used to have like big events where they would get like.
Oh yeah.
They would sell tickets so you could see the policeman's balls.
That's right. Yes.
They
were very expensive balls, actually.
Yeah.
Very
Did you ever see any policeman's balls?
No, not anymore.
Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed, Dennis. Just about on the right side, maybe nudged over a little bit. But they did, didn't they? The policeman's bowls. They used to have.
I've only heard tell. I've never seen one. Love to go.
Goodness sake, so childish. Right, come on.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
So childish. My poor next guest has had to sit through such tosh. She's very patient. Thank you, Zena. Residents who moved to a new development near Bedford just for the train station say after years of waiting, well, they're disappointed it hasn't been built and there's still no date for it. It was initially due to be ready in spring, then it was delayed until December, but work hasn't even started. Zena Herbert moved to Wixham's 3 years ago. She joins me now. Morning, Zena. Oh, no, you're on that fader. Sorry, Zena. Morning. Listen, I really appreciate your patience. I know we've kind of moved you all over the shop, so thank you very much indeed.
Fine, that's fine.
You moved to Wixham's 3 years ago. Whereabouts did you come from?
I came from Morecambe in the northwest.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. And am I right thinking that one of the main reasons you came was because of this promise of the station was very important, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed. I share with a family friend who has Asperger's syndrome, and he can't use the buses. He doesn't drive, he can't use the buses, but he can use the train.
Right.
And so we thought if we came to Wixham's, then he would be able to either walk or bike to the station and get the train and go to Cambridge to the Fitzwilliam or go down to London to the V&A, that he would have mobility, that he would have some independence of being able to move about, not driving and not being able to use the buses. This, of course, is totally ludicrous. He can't go anywhere, and he's trapped in the house and trapped here at Wixham's. And so I feel very badly about it.
So he's unable to go and do any of these things because of this lack of train station?
Unless I take him, he can't go anywhere. He can go out of the house and walk round the lake and walk back again, and that's it.
When you moved into Wixham's, Zena, how long before you were expecting to get the train station? What were you told when you signed up for this?
I thought it would be about 18 months.
Right.
That we would see the work starting. And we agreed between us that would be all right. We could manage for 18 months playing dot and carry with me, taking him here and there.
Yeah.
But, of course, I work. And so that has to fit around what I do.
And have you had any what's the communication been? It's Gallagher's Estates are the company that have kind of built this estate. Network Rail... Basically, every time we go to one of them, they say, no, go and speak to the other person. What's your communication been with either Gallagher or Network Rail?
That's been exactly what's happened. I haven't contacted Network Rail myself, and I've been to a couple of meetings where Gallagher's people have been there, and they say, oh, well, it's going to cost a great deal more than we anticipated. But I would have thought that when you forward plan, you factor in the fact that costs do go up. That isn't exactly accountancy wizardry, is it?
And also kind of tough. You know, tough if it's gone up. You if you're selling something and you know, one of the key factors is there's going to be a train station, well, you've got to find the money to get that train station.
Exactly. I understand the planning permission has expired now.
Oh,
it's said to have been reapplied for, but it's very difficult to get any concrete information.
Yeah, well, I know my team yesterday were frantically making phone calls and getting, you know, they had a day. You must be, you know, you've had years of it. What's the plan, Zeno? Are you going to stay there? Are you able to stay there?
I'm thinking to move because for anybody, if you were just stuck in the house and could only go out as far as your feet could carry you, how would you feel after 3 years? You'd be banging your head on the walls, wouldn't you?
You paint a very powerful picture. I really appreciate your time, and I wish you and your friend the best of luck, and I hope that it gets resolved for you, you know, one way or another, whether that involves moving or a train station miraculously appearing one day.
That's fine.
Thank you, Zena.
Thank you, Iain.
Thank you very much indeed. There we go, Zena Herbert. How frustrating. How frustrating. You promised a train station as part of the package.
Yep.
3 years later, they've not even started. They've not put spade into ground. You know, they've not done anything.
It was supposed to be a whole village with, community centre and all these things. And actually what it is an estate
it's
in the
a
middle
load of
of nowhere.
houses with nothing. Isn't that cheeky? Those poor people. All right, 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. I guess we're talking about romance. Justin's going to be out later on talking about... there's so much in the papers as well. Come in. Have we got a story for 2:45? Where are we?
No, we haven't.
We'll have the travel and the news, and you come in and hang out, Kath. We'll go through the papers. A little recap. Let's just reposition ourselves. One of the things that seems to have got lost in the mists of the conversation this morning, there's a barista working in Starbucks. They do that annoying thing where they write your name on the cup. Stop doing it. What an awful gimmick. They've been doing that for about 2 years now, I think. And this guy just kept writing kind of cute comments to the hot girl that came in. I don't have a problem with that. Her mum has taken great offence. I think it's...
It depends. If he's a creep, then stop going in there, wouldn't
He's
you?
not drawing a weeping cactus or anything. He's just writing, you're extremely hot.
I think that actually this is a bit of a humble brag on the mum's part. She wants to just show how hot her daughter is.
I think so. 03459 455 555. And you might think you've got a problem with sponsorship of the police, right? That's your knee-jerk reaction. Get beyond that and tell me your real reaction once you've given it a little bit of thought. No problem. I don't have a problem at all with the police being sponsored or all of the speed cameras on the M1 being turned on to raise a few quid. What's the problem? 03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there's a lane closed anti-clockwise at junction 12 for the M3, which is causing a delay from junction 16 for the M40. On the A40 Western Avenue, it's very busy too, heading into London from the Swakeleys roundabout in Uxbridge towards Gypsy Corner in Acton. And on the Amersham Road in Beaconsfield, it's looking very busy southbound now on the speed sensors between Longbottom Lane and the A40 London Road. In Cheshunt, the A10 slow southbound between the New River Training Estate and the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. And on the A1 southbound, approaching the Black Cat roundabout, it's very busy now from the St Neots junction, but there's no reported problems on the trains at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. Right, where are we now? 7:46. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death against police advice. Let's get the weather!
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. We'll see outbreaks of rain on and off through the rest of the morning, but then a nice drier spell as we head into at least the first part of the afternoon. There'll be plenty of thick cloud around though. It's feeling quite mild throughout, even quite muggy at times. But yeah, dry for at least the first part of the afternoon, and then we've got some more rain coming in from the southwest. The wind is going to pick up, so it'll be very wet from mid-afternoon onwards again, and it will stay wet through the evening rush hour and indeed for much of the evening too. If you're headed out for bonfire night tonight, you will want your wellies and just expect a rather soggy time. I think it could be quite wet and windy right up until, say, around 8 o'clock in the evening. Top temperatures today up to 14 or 15 Celsius. It is going to feel quite mild, and it's not far off actually what we've got at the moment. Now that system is slowly going to clear through this evening. Then it should be dry for the second half of the night, perhaps a few showers in the wake of the front at times, but otherwise dry. We'll start off the day tomorrow on 12 or 13 Celsius. It will be a dry start to tomorrow, but then gradually we've got further outbreaks of rain coming in from the southwest, strong gusts of wind as well. So rain on and off through the day tomorrow, but still mild, even warmer in fact. Highs possibly up to 17 or 18 Celsius, depending on whether we get any brightness or not. We might just do. Over the next few days, through the daylight hours, there will be lots and lots of rain and really quite strong winds as well. But by night, it's looking dry. So if you're headed out to a fireworks display on Friday evening, you'll probably be all right. And on Saturday evening, it's even better because the skies are going to be clear as well, and it will stay mild throughout, so you won't need your winter woolies on. That's the forecast.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Nick Coffer on BBC Three Counties Radio.
History coming up very shortly with the brilliant Dan Hill. He's a local historian.
Swordsworth, amongst other things, has got quite a rich history. It's further east. There is a lot more influence with regards to things like air raids.
Weekdays from 12.
Great music as well coming up here on BBC Three Counties Radio. Freddie Mercury, The Great Pretender. Go West as well on its way. First though, his T-Rex.
Nick Coffer.
It's fantastic to be able to get, people like Nathan Bell and Gary Matthew, experienced but still early on in their careers, giving them the opportunity to come and make music in a lovely environment. Luton Library Theatre.
Could you describe modern Britain in 50 records? Stuart McConey is doing just that in his book.
I don't think we're going to get another Beatles that are going to dominate the pop cultures.
Nick Coffer, weekdays from 12 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I don't know if anyone noticed, I dropped the audio I was playing there, and today, Matthew, I was playing the part of Stuart McConey.
Flipping Mike Yarwood.
Hey, and this is me! This is me.
It's all him.
It's all him. Speed cameras are a safety measure, not... who's Nana in Houghton Regis?
It's not my Nana.
Speed cameras are a safety measure, not a cash-making opportunity on the already suffering motorist. All right.
Well, it is if you're a dimwit and break the speed limit.
Don't speed. Yeah, all right. Okay. Supposing Ollie Martins had come out, instead of saying... This may be his mistake in this thing. Instead of saying, I'm going to turn on all the speed cameras so that we can make £1 million and save 25 coppers, 35 coppers, whatever it is. Supposing he just came out and said, we don't think the stretch of the M Way in Bedfordshire is safe enough, so we're going to turn on all the speed cameras.
Or, as others would have done, not said anything, just switched them on.
If Ollie Martins had spent... because I never know if cameras are on or not.
If you know they're on, then you know what the game is.
If Ollie Martins had spent time to explain properly what his proposals for the referendum was, he wasn't allowed to. He wasn't allowed to. There were strict rules. And how much in actual terms it will cost, he will not even be suggesting ludicrous things to try and make money.
Okay.
I think
constitutionally, he was not allowed to do that.
I think this newest suggestion with the speed camera shows how inept he is at his job. I don't see how anybody could have a problem with something that is there to enforce the law being used. Now, whether it's to raise money or for safety is irrelevant. You shouldn't be breaking the law. Oh, the poor driver getting punished again. Don't break the law. It's that you may not agree with the 70 mile per hour speed limit, but that's the law. How can anyone object to that? Honestly, all of these people, poor motorists being picked on again. No. You've got a problem with petrol and tax on petrol. That's a different thing altogether.
You have no choice about that. You have a choice about how heavy you put your foot down.
Don't break the law. Don't do 80. Don't do 90. Do 70. Do 70 miles an hour or up to 70 miles an hour. It's a limit, not a target.
Spot the Speed Awareness Course alumnus.
Thanks very much indeed. Didn't do me much good. Dealey!
Ollie Martins has done nothing wrong. I say fair play to him today. Fair play for coming out and trying to do something to protect the people.
Do you know what I think is going to happen and is starting to happen? It will happen on other phone-in shows. I didn't hear what was said on LBC yesterday about him. It was on James O'Brien, so he may have got off fairly lightly. If it had been Nick Ferris, or as I used to call him when I worked with him, Knocker's Fat Ferrari. we had an African woman phone up. Her name was Lynn in Forest Gate. She got banned eventually, not by me. I thought she was brilliant.
The African perspective.
She would say, I was listening to Knocker's Fat Ferrari today.
Wow, she made it up, did she?
I like Nick. Nick Ferrari's always been absolutely delightful to me. But I suggest that if Ollie Martins had been on there, or that story had been discussed in there, he would have got short shrift, and he would have been. And in the Sun today, the story about the M1, there is a real chance Ollie Martins is going to be turned into a laughing stock. A laughing stock nationally.
What is the man supposed to do?
But
then that's a huge distraction from the actual problem, which is that there's no funding for the police.
Oh, yeah, exactly. That becomes the story, that there's this numpty who wants EasyJet to sponsor police cars, and he's turning all the speed cameras to make £1 million. Well, then that becomes the story, you know. And I just think he's playing a very dangerous game. Dealey!
Yes.
Cup of love.
Yeah.
Cup of soup? No, thanks. I'll have a cup of love. There's barista. There's a young lady. She's, not my type, but she's all right. And he's written on the cup, "You're extremely hot." Mum's taken offence.
No, she's not. She's boasting.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's a romantic gesture.
I think as long as that's all it is, as long as he's not being creepy, then what's the problem?
Although if you turn that smiley face upside down, Does look like a weeping cactus. Anyway, go on, Just.
I think the bigger story is her name's Laura, and the barista has spelt the name wrong. Whenever you go into Starbucks, they always spell your name wrong. That's the story for me here.
I think they go on a course to do that.
It's
you know, like so you can get your adult film name and stuff. You can get your. They should do one of those, shouldn't they? Your Costa Coffee name.
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's great. It's great PR. But I've taken this one to the streets because what's happened? No, it is great PR because people because what they do, they take photographs and they put it all over social media. Oh look, I've been to Starbucks today and they spelt my name wrong. It's actually quite clever.
Oh, it's Mark. Well, I don't know if this is a genuine one or not, but Mark with a C. And they've written Cark. I don't know. I don't think that's actually real. That gets bandied around a lot.
They are classic. But yeah, where it says warning, content's hot, he's obviously put warning, you're extremely hot.
Yeah.
He's trying to chat up this 19-year-old girl called Laura. The mum's not having it. So this morning we've gone onto the streets and we've got a lady's perspective. If ladies went into a coffee shop and there was some sort of chat-up line on their coffee cup, would they be offended? Here's what happened.
All the ladies in the house. Oh, yeah. Oh. The ladies.
The ladies' perspective. #HotCup.
Madam, if you had a cup of coffee and the barista wrote something like that, how would you feel?
I wouldn't be happy.
Why wouldn't you be happy?
Because I wouldn't want someone to write something like that on a coffee cup.
Why not? If he thinks you're hot, what's the problem?
It's just not right, I don't think, because you don't know if I'm in a relationship or anything like that. I wouldn't like it.
Yeah, but even if you are in a relationship, he can still think you're hot.
Well, I suppose that's up to him. Yeah. Keep it to himself, though.
Would you go to the counter and say, "Oi, what do you think you're doing?" Yeah. And be honest.
Yeah.
Well, come on, what is your problem? What is your beef? You can't give a girl a compliment these days.
I wouldn't be happy with it, no.
So, okay, can I ask a really nosy question? Are you with somebody?
Yeah.
Okay. How did he make the first move on you? Because I can imagine you being offended by...
I did.
You did?
Yeah.
How would that make you feel, madam?
Bit uncomfortable.
Why?
Well, how does he know you're hot anyway?
He's got eyes. If he thinks you're hot and he says on the cup you're hot, what's the problem?
Well, it's not... it is a problem.
You wouldn't like it at all?
No, I wouldn't. No.
Would you complain?
No, probably not, but that's just...
You probably wouldn't go back though, would you?
No, I wouldn't, no. No.
Thanks for being honest.
It's a little bit corny though, isn't it, really? A little bit cheesy.
It'll make you feel good though. Surely isn't life about feeling good?
Make you feel better, definitely, 100%.
Let's get the Slovakian perspective. Madam, if you went into a coffee shop and the barista said that you were hot on the cup, how would that make you feel? Speaking on behalf of yourself and your nation.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you, madam. And lastly, a word from a local barista. Would he do the same?
If she really liked coffee and like me as well, why not?
You're a player.
I can't say nothing else.
I think your words say it all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, mate.
I think I know that barista. Is he the one that twinkled at me and Kelly?
Is he the one that thought you were a boy?
It's it's a different one. I've not seen this one before, but yeah,
we are
coffee and like her. Yeah,
I'm a little bit concerned, Justin, because Catherine and I are going to Slovakia.
That's the reception.
In about a month, we're taking 2 days off. We're going to Slovakia.
Yeah.
Are they all like that? Are they all as friendly as that woman?
I mean, I thought, to be quite honest with you, I thought it was quite a tame question for the streets. She was highly offended by that and told me in no uncertain terms where to go.
Wowzers, we need to be very. Just, I'm being. I must have missed something in the show earlier on. Okay, we're being. By the way, that picture. It turns out it's posted on my mate's Facebook page. I didn't realise it's called. How do I say?
Sugar London.
Sugar London. Change sugar to a 4-letter word beginning with S. My mate Patrick, who writes books called Sugar London, and basically it's just like the worst aspects of London. And I suggest that the Facebook page is well worth a look. Probably not safe for work. I'm getting harassed on Twitter. Did you admit that you put your CDs in your kitchen?
No, I don't put my... Where's this come from?
It's your profile picture.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Let's have a little look. Hang on a minute.
But...
Oh, yeah, why have you got your CDs in your kitchen?
I haven't got my CDs in the kitchen.
I can see a cooker and I can see CDs.
Is it a bedsit?
No, it's not a bedsit. It's a flat. So you've got... It's like a studio. So you've got the kitchen and the lounging one.
It's a bedsit.
Not a bedsit.
Studio flat.
Are you squatting?
No, I'm not squatting. I just like music, all right? Just leave it there.
Why have you both got your coats on indoors? You won't feel the benefit.
Is that because you're squatting or because you're going to have to do a midnight flit? What is going on? Why are you squatting, Justin? Listen, I've got a spare room, mate. You can come and kip at mine. You can't bring the missus because it would just get confusing. But I'm sure we can find something for her. But you can come and kip. Please don't go squatting, mate.
Okay.
Please don't put your CDs in my kitchen either.
Thanks for being there for me.
Absolute pleasure, player.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are delays on the M25 anti-clockwise from junction 17 from Maple Cross to 12 for the M3 after a lorry's broken down there and another lorry has broken down in the queues, adding to the delays. On the A40 Western Avenue into London, it's slow from the Swakeleys roundabout towards the Gypsy Corner in Acton through Greenford and Hanger Lane. And in Amersham, on Amersham Road in Beaconsfield, it's very busy southbound between Longbottom Lane and the A40. On the A1, it's slow southbound approaching the Black Cat roundabout from the St Neots junction. And on the train departure boards, there are no major delays showing up at the moment. Samantha Breath, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. We're all if there's any Slovakians listening who'd like to redress the Slovakian balance, it's 1-0 to Slovakia at the moment in terms of, well, asked a simple question and told to flip you. I mean, really, guys. If you want to big your country up, Slovakians, 03 459 455 555. Sponsorship of police. I don't really have a massive problem with it, and I don't think you do either. We'll talk more after the news with Simon.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. The headlines: criticism over appointment of Deputy Police Commissioner for Bedfordshire, flight suspended to Egyptian resort, and memorial plaque is put up outside Luton Police Station.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised. Saqib Ali's appointment is expected to be confirmed at the Police and Crime panel this evening. Commissioner Ollie Martin says the role is in the budget, but his Conservative opponent Catherine Holloway says it shouldn't be happening as the force battles funding cuts.
We have a very specific situation here in Bedfordshire. We're being asked to sign a petition about acute shortage of funding. It is completely illogical at that time to appoint somebody who's being paid over £30,000 a year for 3 days' work a week.
The government suspended all flights between the UK and Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt because of concerns about security at the resort's airport. They include EasyJet flights to and from London Luton Airport. The holiday company Thomson, which has its headquarters in Luton, says it's cancelled all outbound flights to Sharm el-Sheikh up until Thursday, the 12th of November. The government believes a bomb may have caused a Russian passenger plane to crash shortly after takeoff on Saturday. More from Chris Mason.
British officials sent to Sharm el-Sheikh airport by the government yesterday concluded last night that whilst the Egyptian authorities had stepped up their efforts to improve security procedures, they remained inadequate. So no flights will leave Sharm el-Sheikh for the UK today, nor set off from here to the resort. But it's hoped flights could leave there, potentially as early as tomorrow. British staff will now oversee the security of the flights to the UK that will eventually be allowed to leave Sharm.
A memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death against police advice. Mr Briggs died in police custody in November 2013. Bedfordshire Police had told the family to postpone the plaque going up and say no decision has yet been made about taking it down. Leon's mum, Margaret, was at the plaque's unveiling.
Well, we think it's great that we had so much support tonight. They can't get back my trust because they told me the other night they were going to let us put the plaque up. We just would not speak to them again.
Residents living in Wixham's off the A6 between Luton and Bedford say they're disappointed that a planned train station is still no closer to being built. Work started on the development in 2007. The train station was due to be completed this year. Developers Gallagher Estates say they're working with Network Rail. Zena Herbert moved to Wixham's 3 years ago from Lancashire.
I've been to a couple of meetings where Gallagher's people have been there, and they say, oh, well, it's going to cost a great deal more than we anticipated. But I would have thought that when you forward plan, you factor in the fact that costs do go up.
In sport, England's hopes of winning the third test against Pakistan have collapsed on the final day in Sharjah. England started on 46 for 2, chasing 284 to win, but collapsed to 59 for 6 inside half an hour. A short while ago, England were 112 for 7, with captain Alistair Cook 50 not out. The weather cloudy with some light rain this morning, heavier rain later this afternoon, a maximum temperature 15 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Or as my youngest would say, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Busy show this morning. Slippers. Slippers are dying out, apparently because our homes are too warm. I don't believe that for a second. My home is freezing. Every year, new pair of slippers for Christmas. Beautiful. Whether I need them or not. Love them. Imagine a world, dear listener, without slippers.
Across
Awful.
beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm wearing slippers now. 2 Christmases ago, Catherine bought me my first ever Christmas present after years of me buying her Christmas presents. A pair of slippers. I'm wearing them now.
Because he insists on taking his shoes off in the studio.
I do. I like doing the... I do the show in stockinged feet.
Odd stockings.
Yeah, I've got odd stockings on. It means socks, but we say stockings. I've got odd socks on today. I'm running a little bit low. I need to do a wash. A little glimpse into my
See, I'd go without rather than go odd. That's just the difference between you and me.
Well, but women can go without. Only women and Dealey can go without socks. And normal people, they wear socks. We need socks.
Do you know what I do like, though? The stolen socks, the stolen men's socks.
So,
they're always better.
That annoys me so much. I know exactly how many socks I've got, and then I can't find any. Oh, look, there they are on your feet, wife!
Women's socks are too thin. Discuss.
Someone's upset with Justin Dealey. Do you want to read the angry text from Michael in St Neots?
Oh dear.
He's furious.
Why do you presume to ask a single...
This is about the Slovakian perspective, guys, which really soured already tense relationships between our country and indeed Slovakia. Catherine and I are going on a peacekeeping mission next month, but could be tough. Anyway,
it's going to be tense.
Go on.
Why do you presume to ask a single non-UK person to speak for their nation? Although intended in a light-hearted way, this may explain the FU comment. You and Justin D, top man...
Which one is the top man?
I think Justin Dealey might be, the one who asked the question that's been so offensive.
Yes.
Don't ask white English to typify their nation. Michael of St Neots.
Aha, I see what's happening here is Michael has deconstructed something that really doesn't warrant much deconstruction because it's a throwaway comment on a light-hearted breakfast radio show that, yes, has got the biggest listening figures it's had in years, but in the great scheme of things is meaningless. But thanks for your contribution, Michael, it's appreciated. Ollie Martins will officially announce the appointment of a new Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire today. The Conservative candidate for Ollie's job, Catherine Holloway, has criticised the decision, branding it as insensitive, coming at a time when the PCC is calling for more money for the force. Well, Paul Lander is the editor of Police Professional, based in Aylesbury. It's a weekly journal covering policing matters. Morning, Paul.
Good morning.
How many people read Police Professional? I've never heard of it before.
It's a national publication, so it's the only weekly journal for policing nowadays.
Okay, so there's all these kind of things that you don't, unless you're involved, you don't get to know about. What's your reaction to what Ollie Martins is doing, hiring a deputy, 3 days a week, 30 grand a year?
Well, you've got to look at the role of police and crime commissioners now. It's changed very significantly from the role of the police authorities that police and crime commissioners replaced. Then 19 members shared the workload on a part-time basis. And the functions of the PCCs are now much wider. For example, now responsible for the strategic direction of the force. They're responsible for commissioning victim services, and they've taken over the media spotlight from chief constables. So PCCs have been surprised, generally across the whole of the country, at the how difficult the role is. And it is, in fact, a tough role for one person.
Catherine Holloway says that she wouldn't have a deputy. She doesn't need one.
I suspect that she may change her mind if she were to gain office. Many PCCs, when they first took up the role, didn't want to appoint deputies, but came to a decision that they needed one. And in parts of the country, when a PCC has had to step aside for a short period of time, such as through illness, having a deputy there who can step in and present that same status, have a persona, fulfil those roles that a PCC must have, has been actually quite valuable.
It's a tough time for Bedfordshire Police, as we know. Ollie Martins, I suspect, may have raised his head a little bit too high above the parapet and may soon become the whipping boy for cuts in the police service. He's talked about sponsorship of the police. It kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
It's quite a controversial proposal, and I'm not sure how well that will be perceived, having sponsorship of various aspects of policing. But the police have sought funding in various ways, income generation through sponsorship of various bits of bobs, conferences and particular roles. But I'm not sure how this particular proposal would actually come to fruition.
Final question, Paul. Do policemen still have big balls? You always used to get, the policeman's balls and things. Do they still happen?
No, as such, in the age of austerity,
because they were fundraisers, weren't they? And they were for to keep spirits up and to raise a few quid.
I've not been involved, or I've not been around when these particular so-called police balls have been around. But I don't think they've been a major part of policing.
Okay, all right, Paul. Listen, I really appreciate your thoughts this morning. Thank you very much indeed. If anyone has ever seen a policeman's balls, I would love to, honestly, because I don't know. I know that I don't know what happened in there. Was it all a little bit risque? Did they make inappropriate jokes?
No, lots of jokes were made about them, of course, weren't they?
Well,
who would do that?
There was, of course, the Amnesty International did the secret policeman's ball, which had nothing to do with the police. Okay, that was Monty Python recreating the Dead Parrot sketch, and there's a very funny sketch with Rowan Atkinson interviewing Elton John. Oh. I remember that. I remember it being very funny. These things generally don't stand the test of time. There's a very funny Peter Cook sketch. He was the only person that wrote something new. Everyone was doing like their greatest hits, like not the 9 o'clock news, and Monty Python doing their greatest hits. And Peter Cook rocked up, absolutely steaming, and said, "I've written something," and it was brilliant. Anyway, but if anyone's ever has in any way been involved with policemen and their balls, I can keep doing this gag all morning, Catherine.
I know you can.
All morning.
Oh, that's why I did the face.
I know you did. And that's why I'm leaning off mic and doing a little comic aside. I don't think the listener can hear this.
Good, I hope they can't, because I'm going to say something quite rude in a minute.
OK, well, thanks very much indeed. 03459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you're more than welcome to. So slippers. Now, this is properly important, right? Because Dealey's... probably going to offend somebody by going out and talking about it. You would think that slippers, right, Catherine, is going to be... Good morning, Danny, you all right?
Yep.
You're a young man.
Well spotted. Nice.
All right. Do you wear slippers?
Yes.
Oh, really?
I do.
What type? Moccasins?
No, they haven't got any back on them.
Oh, a mule.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I've got those.
Like the kind you get... Did you get them free from a hotel?
No, my nan got them for me.
Ba-ba-ba-da-ba.
My nan got them for me.
Ba-ba-dum-bum.
My nan got them for me.
A lucky boy.
That was funnier than it should have been. I made myself laugh. So, I don't like the slippers at the backs. I like ones you put your foot is encased. The problem with those, of course, is that the back of them, if you tread on them too much, the back goes limp.
If it's raining as well, your foot gets wet.
What are you wearing them outdoors for? You crazy man?
That's the only time I use them, to go outside.
Well, no.
That's when you use shoes.
You're a junkie or something? Are you high? Are you high on like a drug or something?
No.
Slippers are for indoors.
No, you've got to take the recycling out and it's raining. You don't want to go in.
Wellies on.
Flipping it.
Wellies,
Sometimes I go out in the garden in my slippers and I get a
So do I, but it feels naughty.
I get a right roll. I do it in tippy toe.
Yes.
And then I come into the kitchen. I take big strides so that the muddy patches are really far apart, so that hopefully no one will notice.
They won't realise it's foot shaped.
But slippers are an indoor They're an indoor footwear. They're
No,
an indoor footwear.
don't wear slippers indoors.
You get out of bed, you put your slippers on, you go for a whittle, you get back, you're beautiful.
Mine have been at the front door for about 2 years. I barely wear them.
Mate, people like you really offend me.
Good.
Well, slipper sales are down, guys.
How long do you have your slippers for? Do you wear them until they fall off, or do you get a new pair every year at Christmas?
I actually lied to her. I said I get a new pair at Christmas. Since my mum has not been well enough to do the Christmas shopping for the last few years, I tend to get a new pair, like, maybe every 2 years. Sometimes I'll treat myself, though.
Yeah.
I'll go into Marx's. Marx's do the best slippers, without a shadow of a doubt.
Them's Marx's.
Are they Marx's? The other ones are Marx's. Slippers and pants, Marx's. Socks, Marx's. Clothes, no. Go Gap or something, isn't it? Probably Gap.
Wow, you're so trendy.
Thank you so much.
It's like working with Gok.
Well, by the way, Gap keeps sending me 40% off vouchers.
They do. They're very needy, Gap, aren't
They're
they?
very voucher friendly. I mean, I keep deleting them, but I might get myself a new cup. Anyway.
Have you ever ventured into the Banana Republic?
Yeah, I have. The Banana Republic stuff, the same company.
Yeah.
Don't fit
Slightly
me.
Smarter.
Don't fit me over here. In America, it fits me. Over here, it doesn't fit me. So I normally, I haven't been to New York for ages, but normally I'd go to New York, go in the Banana Republic, stock up on, and also it's the same. It's cheaper there. So if it's something $70 over there, it'll be £70 over here.
Gosh.
How does that work?
Exchange rates. That's what it works.
Don't exchange at the airport. Do it at the post office a week before you go.
Drawback to shopping in America.
Yes, boss.
You don't really know what the price is till you get to the till, because they add the tax on.
It's far to go as well.
Well,
America.
there's that, but they add the tax on, and that's a surprise.
Yes. Anyway, I haven't got time to talk about slippers now. I'll have to come back to slippers in a second. 03459 455 555. Your slipper stories, please.
Travel news for beds, cards, and
is it there?
bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
I may have.
On the M25.
Hello,
Anti-clockwise.
Sammy. Forget the travel. It's
Yes.
boring.
No, there's problems though.
Well, yeah, we'll do it. We'll let you do it, and I don't want to demean your art, and you do make it artistic. But we know, we've got the weather watchers as we finally, gradually, what it is we're elbowing out the professional weather reporters, and we're just getting punters to do it. I suspect that travel will be next. Yeah. And then we're going to get rid of Oxley, as we'll have the under 18 headlines, and then it'll be me.
Who's going to do your job?
Oh, they'll have a raffle. They'll have a tombola or something. So they'll have like an X Factor.
Send the audio in, and then they'll just be introducing things and
they'll
talking
get
about things.
Exactly. They don't. So we're all on our way out. But I really wanted to.
No. I think everyone would have missed you a lot.
Wow, sarcasm.
I'm not being sarcastic.
I love the fact that you can do that high-pitched thing where your voice actually goes so high it disappears for a couple of seconds and comes back in. Do you wear slippers?
No.
You disgust me. The big not the big socks with the
Fluffy
sole.
Socks.
Have they got the sole on? No. All right,
no,
well,
they've got like fluff inside and Christmas patterns.
Okay, I'm getting bored now. I can only imagine the listener must have dropped off 3 minutes ago. Let's find out what's happening on the roads and indeed the trains.
On the M25 anti-clockwise, a lane's closed at junction 12 for the M3, which is causing a delay from junction 17 for Maple Cross, and that's also being made worse by another breakdown in the queue. On the M25 clockwise, there's a lane blocked just after junction 24 for Potters Bar, and it's got delays from the A1M at South Mims, and it's slow on the M12 from junction 10 for the Luton Airport towards junction 9 for Redbourne, and nearby in Dunstable on the A5 southbound, there are queues from the A505 towards Brewers Hill Road, and that's because of the roadworks. But on the trains, there's no problems at the moment. Samantha Brough, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. Go and get some slippers. Treat yourself to some slips. 8:16, Thursday, the 5th of November. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the 2nd anniversary of his death against police advice.
Every weekday from 3.
It's not just about what we bring you.
Starting off on the M25, it's particularly heavy-moving anti-clockwise.
It's also about what you bring us.
In the end, I could only eat off my ironing board.
Your stories.
Every room in the house was just was climbing over mountains of rubbish.
Your humour.
There's a reason why you earn the big bucks, you see. That sort of insightful comment is exactly right.
Your opinions.
Well, the culture's got to change because the police can't do it and the traffic wardens are so busy. So the culture has to change.
I think parents do change into different human beings when they are picking their kids up.
Roberto Perroni.
And everyone across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Stop having fun!
Just imagining just eating off your ironing board.
I've eaten off. Why can't I eat off his lap?
I know. Why?
Because the ironing board's an odd height. You're not going to get a chair big enough.
I like
you
a
have to
table.
stoop.
Exactly. I like a table as much as anyone else. That's pretty much a breakfast bar, though, isn't it, and an ironing board?
But then then you need a bar stool.
Exactly. If there's not a table available, I can modify.
I had my dinner on my lap the other day for the first time in years.
Naughty, isn't
On
it?
a plate as well, or just on your lap?
Stop being so stupid. Enough difficult. It was hard.
It's not a natural position, is it, Danny?
Danny?
What are you upset about?
Someone's upset him, isn't it? You upset? What's upsetting you, mate? Talk to me. You can treat me like a father figure if you want.
You're old enough, but
Gosh.
Hi. Oh no, I was just remembering a joke.
That's the worst.
It's gone all lonely now. Just me. I'll just talk to you about things. Don't really like cats.
This is Iain Lee.
On BBC Three Counties Radio.
I think we've just found a new feature. Inside Danny's mind. Residents living in Wixham. Oh, by the way, you can still call. We've got the last half an hour, as you probably know. We don't really have a lot. Still take your calls on Ollie Martins. I don't think there's necessarily. I think the outrage about him hiring a deputy is slightly contrived by opposing forces, because we're going to start getting points trying to be scored, because he said the election's in May as to whether I'm surprised he said he's going to run again, but the election for the PCC is in May, so we're going to start getting bits and pieces. I think the deputy thing is a slightly missing the point. I think the stories are the sponsorship of the police,
McCoppers,
and the turning on of the speed cameras on the M1. I genuinely. I can understand why some people would think sponsorship might be inappropriate and it's controversial. I can understand why it's controversial.
Can you imagine PCSOs sponsored by Can't Believe It's Not Butter?
I can't believe they're not coppers.
Exactly.
Oh! I cannot, for the life of me, understand how anybody could be annoyed with speed cameras being turned on.
Unless they're those people who reckon, and I think it is reckoning, as in chinny reckon, that they can't drive at speed without looking at the speedo the whole time, that it's impossible to do so.
I cannot get my head around the poor picked-on driver being... No. If you get fined, it's because you've broken the law.
The other thing
Deal with it.
They have to tell you when there's a speed camera there, so you know what the rules of the game are, and yet you continue to try and gamble. Well, that's kind of your fault.
Honestly, I do not think that the controversy of sponsorship, I can understand why it's controversial. Personally, I think it's quite a good idea, but... the speed cameras, I cannot see how anyone, apart from criminals, could be upset by the speed cameras being turned on all along the M1.
I think that we've been force-fed this argument that it's not fair, the speed camera, for such a long time that some people believe it.
03459, we'll take your calls on that. 03459 455 555. Right, residents living in Wixham's in Bedfordshire say after years of waiting, they're still no clearer to knowing when a train station's going to be built. You know what's... Catherine, you know what's going to happen in Wixham's, don't you? They're going to wait 3 years for a train station, then 3 are going to arrive at once.
Oh, why's that?
It was initially due to be ready in spring this year and then delayed until December, but work hasn't even started. Don't know when it's due, don't know what it's going to cost, don't know why it's been delayed. The team were phoning yesterday and they couldn't get any answers whatsoever. I suspect my next guest will have as little information as we've got. It's Elstow Parish Councillor Tony Hare. Morning, Tony.
Good morning to you, Iain.
This story is incredible. Am I right? You were involved in the initial planning for the station.
I was, yes.
How long ago was that?
Beg pardon?
How long ago was that?
99.
Really? 16 years ago?
Yeah.
Do we have any idea what the hell is going on?
Well, no. There was the very last information we had was back in 2011, when there was a full planning application submitted and passed, and that was for a 4-platform station, which was a far bigger station than was originally agreed back in 99, 2002, that sort of period. But what's happened since then, of course, nothing.
And we tried speaking to Gallagher's, the building company that kind of built this estate. They said, oh, no, it's not us, it's Network Rail. So we spoke to Network Rail and they said, no, it's not us, it's Gallagher's. Who is ultimately responsible for this? Do we know?
Well, going back into which I've been doing, going back into all the old paperwork, it is most definitely the liability of Gallagher's. It's their requirement to build it. It was part of the 106 agreement, but that was altered about 6-7 years ago, mainly due to the downturn. But it's still really down to them. I understood back in 2002 that they had £12 million set aside to build this station, or the 2-platform station.
Yeah.
But I mean, as I say, since then it's increased in size. And other alterations have been done to it as well, which I would have thought the people in Wixham's ought to really have a look at.
What alterations do you think should concern the residents?
Drop-off facilities that had been agreed as a one-way system, which was quite nice. But now they have a number of different parking and just a single road there and back. Well, if you've got buses going out to the station, and for them to all turn round on a roundabout, it's not going to be that easy.
Tony, you may not know the answer to this, but we spoke to a resident of Wixham's earlier who suggested that the planning permission has now expired. Is that correct?
It is. Theoretically, it will expire next year.
Right. Okay.
Next April.
This train station ain't going to get built, is it? I am sensing and sniffing out. Fobbing off that this is what I make up, Tony, that the train station is now way more expensive than Gallagher's ever imagined it would be. They haven't got the money for it, and they don't want to do it.
I mean, without a shadow of a doubt, there's going to be a huge funding shortfall. As I said to you earlier, they had only set aside £12 million back in 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Of course, since then they've increased the size of the station and altered various factors about the external areas of the station. And I think the cost is going to way exceed 50 million.
Do you think, and this is just us, making up stuff, and if Gallagher's want to prove us wrong, wonderful. Do you think this train station's ever going to happen?
Back in the early days, when they were all very keen to do it, and it was going to be built as a Phase 1 project, which was the first village, and then they'd have an extension road and then build the station. But of course, as you're right, it seems to have just slipped everybody's mind, which I think is shocking.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? And those, those residents that have moved there on the promise of a train station, they've been betrayed. Tony, I really appreciate you looking through your old documents and coming on this morning to talk about it. Thank you, Elstow Parish Councillor Tony Hare. Gallagher's, if you want to prove me wrong, but that train station's never going to come, is it? That's never going to get built. Surely. Why don't you just come out and say, you know what? We haven't got the money for it. I'm sorry. Prove me wrong, Gallagher's. Prove me wrong. 03459 455 555. Sheila's on the line. Good morning, Sheila.
Good morning. You probably think this is quite strange. I would like 3 speed cameras put up on the opposite parts of my road. I live in a cross area.
Yeah.
And years ago they put up a yellow box, which means as I come out the road, I have to make sure I go through the traffic lights at the right time.
Yeah.
And they said the reason was because there'd been accidents. Not that I know about it.
Oh, yeah, here's the thing. They can only put cameras up on roads that aren't motorways and those signs that warn that there's a bend coming up if, I think, 2 people have died.
Yeah,
that's a fact.
I haven't heard of anybody died. However, what it means is that the other 3 areas where the lights are, they have no yellow little boxes, but they're the ones that are committing the offences, if you see what I mean. Because I wait for it to go green, and as it goes green, the people are still coming round the corner.
So hang on a minute. So I'm trying to picture it, and I can't because I was looking at Twitter.
Think of a crossways.
Yes, crossroads.
But slightly out of sync.
Yep.
So you have to sort of go a little bit left or a little bit right.
Yes.
with a main road coming through.
Right.
We are the off-road, one of the off-roads, and we've got the camera.
Right. You want it round the other way?
I want it on all of the others.
But do you drive?
Yes, I do. Of course I do.
Jeff.
Sorry.
No, you do. So you do drive, but what about all these hard done by drivers that are getting punished and penalised again?
Well, it would make a change because they're the ones that are now committing the offences. We're not committing the offences.
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much indeed, Sheila. 03459 455 555. There's no argument. There can't be an argument. Can someone give me a decent argument in the last 30 minutes of the show as to why the speed cameras on the M1 should not be turned on? There isn't an argument. Well, it's punishing the driver. No, it's punishing the speeding driver who's breaking the law. That's all it's doing. Oh, and by the way, it might get us another 25 coppers. There's no decent argument against it. 03459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there's a lane closed anti-clockwise at junction 12 for the M3, which is causing a queue from junction 17 for Maple Cross, and it's being made worse by a second breakdown in the queues. Clockwise on the M25, and there's a lane blocked just after junction 24 for Potters Bar, which is causing a delay from the A1M. And on the M1, it's slow southbound between junction 12 for Flitwick and 11 for Dunstable. Also on the A5 in both directions in Hotcliffe, there are queues at Woburn Road, particularly slow from Dunstable Road, and the A1 is busy southbound approaching the Black Cat roundabout from the St Neots junction. There's no reported problems on the trains at the moment though. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Last 30 minutes of the show. It's a weird one. The best ones often are. Slippers, speed cameras and sponsoring police. Oh, and you know the rules. You can call in about anything you want. 03459 455 555. Let's get the news. Here's Simon.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. The headlines. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Meanwhile, Commissioner Ollie Martins is continuing to defend his comments about potentially using cameras on the M1 in Bedfordshire to strictly enforce the 70 miles per hour limit to raise more funds. The government says it expects that British tourists stranded in the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh will begin to be flown home from tomorrow. All flights between the UK and the airport are currently suspended, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death against police advice.
Three Counties Sport.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
England's hopes of winning the third test against Pakistan have collapsed on the final day in Sharjah. England started on 46 for 2, chasing 284 to win, but collapsed to 59 for 6 inside half an hour. At lunch, England are 120 for 7, with captain Alistair Cook 50 not out. In the Champions League, Willian's late winner gave Chelsea a much-needed 2-1 victory over Dynamo Kiev. Jose Mourinho says the support at Stamford Bridge meant a lot.
Today comes in a moment where the results are not good. The fans, they listen pundits, commentators, opinions. Today they try to say, we want you here. And probably they want also to say to all of you, let him work.
But Arsenal's qualification is out of their own hands after a 5-1 thrashing away to Bayern Munich. His manager Arsene Wenger.
My memory is not good enough to tell you in 19 years if it's a worse performance. It certainly will not remain in my memory for anything positive. We have still a chance to qualify. It's a small chance, but there is a real one.
Tonight in the Europa League, Liverpool are away to Rubin Kazan. Tottenham host Anderlecht. QPR have sacked head coach Chris Ramsey, with former manager Neil Warnock placed in temporary charge. Stevenage striker Adam Marriott continued his comeback from injury with a goal in last night's 3-0 win at Welling Garden City in the Hearts Senior Cup. And Andy Murray's through to the third round of the Paris Masters. His next opponent is the Belgian David Goffin, a warm-up for this month's likely meeting in the Davis Cup final. BBC Three Counties News and Sport. The next full bulletin at 9.
1, 2, 3 and 4 more make 7. 6 is afraid of 7, 'cause 7, 8, 9. 9 was minding his business, talking to 10 about Gordie Howe's clothes. Why 7, 8, 9? Nobody knows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
What about 9?
7, 8, 9. Oh, the cat'll have to live with 8 lives now. Ronaldo will have to make do. Ever since 7, 8, 9 seems I've got an extra finger and an extra toe too. 7, 8, 9. Once upon a time in our solar system, we couldn't make do without 9. But Pluto's not a planet now, so 8'll do fine. Oh, the cat'll have to do with 8 lives now. The Chinese will be out of luck. Vampires will have to think of some other method, cause without their K9s, how will they suck? 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10.
What about 9?
7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Oh, 7, 8, 9.
Yes, Graham.
Morning, Ian.
Morning, Graham. What you got?
How about speed cameras?
Yeah.
In Northamptonshire, they're turned off because they said that they couldn't afford to process all the fines and all that. So on the M1, why aren't they turned on already to get the money in? I reckon it's because they can't afford to process all the fines and tickets to go out. That's why they're not on.
No. But it's not gonna. It's not. They'll make money though.
But that's why they're turned off.
No, but they'll make money. They'll make money.
But they don't. Why are they turned off then in Northamptonshire?
I don't know.
On the M1.
I would refuse to go to Northamptonshire. I don't know.
No,
but you can't take. Are you seriously saying, Graham? I'm getting angry, Kath. I'll be back.
I can see. Have we told your coat?
Are you seriously telling me, Graham, that speed cameras
don't make money?
They lose money? Because you're the only person in the country that thinks that.
So why are they not turned on in Northamptonshire? And
Because
why are
they're
they not
lazy.
on the M1 right now?
It's a lazy, lawless place out there. It's like the Wild West.
There's got to be. It's the only reason they're not on. Why? If the people are breaking the law and they're doing 60 and a 50, they should be fined. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
Why aren't they? Because it costs too much money to process it all.
Well, that's one conspiracy theory. The other is there's never been any filming them. They've never intended to use them. They're just a
Filming them.
deterrent.
It's not 1986 for crying out loud. Filming them.
All right,
It's
well, you know
all
what I mean.
digital stuff now.
They're
Memory cards.
The other conspiracy theory is they are empty boxes and they're just there as a deterrent.
Trust me, they're not empty boxes. I've got 9 points on my licence.
Some aren't.
I've been fined as well.
And it's your fault and it's my fault. So no one can argue if they get busted by it.
I've got no argument about it.
But Graham, you cannot be right, okay? You cannot be right. It can, because we've always heard stories about how it makes councils millions of pounds. It can't be. They can't lose money on speed cameras.
Why are they not in the whole of Northamptonshire, and why are they not on at this moment on the M1? They make £1 million today if they were on.
Well, if I'm driving home, they will do, probably. The way I'll go. Graham, listen, we'll put it out there. I think you've got to be wrong. You've got to be wrong. They can't... Thank you for that, Graham. 03459 455 555. They can't lose money. They can't be losing money.
They should whack them on up and down the country. Easy.
And
the only argument against it that we hear is that it's some kind of bad sportsmanship.
Someone says here, but why are the cameras not on at the moment? And then someone says, he's right, all the cameras in Coventry are off as they can't afford to use them. How does that work? Well, in that case, let's all go to Coventry. I'll be there in about 20 minutes.
What, for a burn-up?
For a massive burn-up. It seems, I cannot understand that at all.
If you've ever been nicked for speeding in Coventry, call me now.
Coventry.
Flipping Coventry.
Come on, I wonder how she's doing up there. Anyway. I'm missing a bit of my Daily Mail. I need the front of my Daily Mail.
I've got a Daily Mail.
Yeah, let me have the Daily Mail. Because you know I have this... by the way, 03459 455 555 is the phone number. You can call in about anything you want. We'll speak to Delia about slippers in a bit. I have a long-standing theory that old people... Sometimes I veer, like they do when they're driving. I veer between they shouldn't be allowed to drive at all to, I think the softer part of me thinks from the age of 67 onwards, they should be tested every 2 years.
Gosh, 67's old to you now, is it?
Yes, it is.
You be careful. Be very careful.
I'm not going to make 67. Here's the reason why. The reason has got a name. The name is Sheila Fitzgerald. You seen this?
She sounds delightful.
8 hours lost on a road I didn't have the foggiest.
Oh.
When Sheila Fitzgerald set out on a shopping trip to buy a new frock, she was confident she'd be back in time for tea. But dense fog closed in as the pensioner headed for home in her trusty Nissan Micra.
Oh, no.
She took a wrong turn. And what should have been a simple 6-mile journey became an 8-hour road trip as police officers from 2 forces tried to track her down. The drama unfolded late on Monday afternoon when Mrs Fitzgerald, 82, you see, decided to drive from her home in Rainford, St Helens to Ormskirk, 6 miles away. The fog came down at about 6 p.m. and the pensioner set off in the opposite direction to home.
That's quite countrified round there.
She ended up on the M65, mate.
All right, that's less countrified.
She's thought to have gone through Scarisbrick, Southport and Banks in Merseyside before heading through Tarleton into Lancashire.
Right, I know that area because my gran lives in Banks. You could get easily very, very lost there.
8 hours lost. Traffic cameras picked up the pensioner on the M65 near Blackburn before she made her way past Burnley and Nelson and headed on to country lanes towards the Yorkshire Dales.
Flipping it.
The trail was picked up again near Gisborne in Lancashire. Police officers were sent to intercept at 2 a.m.
How do you spend 8 hours in Lancashire? I mean, she didn't even cross the border.
At 2 a.m, officers used their car to block Mrs Fitzgerald as she attempted a U-turn more than 50 miles away from her home.
Oh, dear.
Now, apparently unaware of the fuss she'd caused, the pensioner asked the officers, "What's the matter? Am I a missing person or something?" The police replied, "Yes, madam, you are."
Oh, poor Lord.
Now, you always suspect that maybe there's something a little bit more going on with this lady, but that's the reason that old people should be forced to take their tests.
That's the reason why they should all be given sat-navs.
Oh, you want to give sat-navs to old people now?
Or as my mum calls them, nav-sacks.
My boys call them sack-navs. Glenn, we can't give sack-navs to old people.
Hello?
Hello, Glenn.
Hello, you all right?
Do you want to give sack-navs to old people?
You might as well, even if they're walking down the shop.
And here's the punchline, guys. It was a wasted journey anyway. She couldn't find a frock that she liked. Unbelievable. Glenn, what you got for us?
Well, I'm from Northampton, and I just want to back up what that guy just said earlier on. All the cameras have been switched off for about 3 years now.
Yes.
But people still slow down, and I think when they were put up originally, people thought they were nothing in them, but then they got all these fines. And so the revenue was big enough to have a load of staff to process it.
Yeah.
But over time, nobody was speeding.
Nobody was.
I know what's gone on there.
Hang on, let Glenn finish his... Glenn's got a theory. Let Glenn finish his theory before...
Let me just work it out with a pencil.
Before we shoot him down in flames.
No, I'm not going to shoot him down, I'm going to add to.
All right, go on then, Glenn.
So now, the building that used to be for processing all the fines has disappeared.
Right.
It's something else now.
Yeah.
But people still slow down. There's not even any... There's about 2 mobile speed units that are strategically placed in a few
How come I've got 9 points then?
Well, I don't know.
Catherine, you want to contribute to Glenn's bullshine?
Here's what's gone on.
Yeah.
Right, you turn the cameras on for long enough for people to get fined.
Yeah.
You take the hit financially.
Yeah.
Because after that, people start obeying them anyway.
Yeah.
They start to... And so you don't need to run them anymore. So the job's done. If the job is not collecting money but slowing traffic down, they're using word of mouth.
People still slow down at the cameras.
Exactly. So what they do is when people start taking the chances again and word gets around they're not on, they switch them on for a bit. Everyone gets the frighteners. Boom.
Guys, you live in a fantasy world, Glenn, and Catherine, button it, right? I drive on motorways every flipping day of my life, right? They would make an absolute fortune because there are people bombing way. No one sticks to 70, Glenn.
Well, that's why it's unfair, I think, 70 mile an hour. I think there should
be... good. Here we go. It's unfair. Why is it unfair, Glenneth?
Well, because cars are so much different now. They can stop on a threatening bit now, and it's not like, the old cars that used to take half a mile to slow down.
Yeah, but the law is 70 miles an hour, right? So stick to the law. Go and have a debate in Parliament and go and get a petition online if you want to change it. But the law is 70 miles per hour. Stick to it.
Well, besides which, if you change it to 80, right, people start doing 90. Because
Yeah,
that's
but
what
on
people
the
are
other
like
hand-
with chances.
Yeah, but then if everybody stuck to 70 mile an hour, no revenue. So what they do then is switch and make them 60. You know, you'd have these.
No, they're not going to do it. But you're living in a fantasy world where they're having to lower the speed limit to make money. No. But no one sticks to 70. No one sticks to 70. Glenn, you're if you were here, I'd give you a slap with that newspaper around the
And then
head.
I'd apologise profusely and said, please don't sue us.
No one sticks to 70. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. 03459 455 555. I have to for legal reasons.
Yeah.
Still waiting for the. Don't mention it. No, I'm not. I'm hoping that they've. I'm hoping.
Maybe it's cost too much to process.
That they have forgotten. Here we go. I'm gonna get a little bit. I'm gonna get a little bit boring now. But do you mind? We're doing a phone in about speed cameras. I can do this. Millions of people. I'm so smug. I'm changing my electricity and my gas. Boom. Like every other week, I'm changing it.
Too much time in your hands.
Millions. It doesn't take much time. That's the thing. It takes 3 minutes. Millions of people. What are you going to do with 3 minutes? Millions of people are still paying over the odds for gas and electricity, despite the government urging consumers to switch providers. Figures show 75% of customers pay £54 more a year on electricity deals. I am changing. I've signed up to one of them switchy things, right? And I get an email every week saying, we found you a better deal on the electricity that we found you 6 months ago. Boom. I log in. Yeah, right. You go in, you type in your few details. Brilliant. You've changed. I have gone from spending a shed load of money on gas and electricity to spending. Now I'm down to like 68 quid a month, right? Then I got an email saying, "Oh, we can get it down to 43 quid a month." Beautiful. I'm quids in. Why would anyone? Why go and do it now?
No.
Why?
I don't do that stuff. I do water. That's mine.
Oh, for crying out! You can't change water. Water's the same.
I know, that's
It's all
why it's
Thames. Oh. Make me want to puke. Honestly,
I'm not in charge of that. That's the one thing I let him do.
Oh, do it!
Travel news for beds, cards, and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, the lane's closed anti-clockwise at junction 12 for the M3 and it's causing a really long delay back from junction 18 for Chorleywood, even almost reaching Watford. On the clockwise M25, 2 lanes are closed at junction 24 for Potter's Bar because of an accident involving several cars. It's being recovered at the moment and it's causing delays from junction 22 for St Albans. In Borehamwood, it's slow on the A1 southbound from the M25 at South Mims towards the Stirling Corner. And in Milton Keynes on Grafton Street, that's been closed in both directions between the Grove Way and Watling Street because of an accident involving 2 cars, so it's causing delays between the A5 and Bletchley because it's by the Stadium MK. On the A1, it's slow southbound approaching the Black Cat roundabout from the St Neots Junction. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 8:46, these are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised at a time when the force is battling against funding cuts. Flights between the UK and the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh remain suspended because of concerns about security, and a memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the 2nd anniversary of his death against police advice. Let's get the weather.
Beds, Herts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It's a very mild start to the day. We've got a few outbreaks of rain around at the moment as well. But lots of dry weather too. There's quite a lot of cloud. It's feeling very mild, really very grey sort of day really. I don't think we'll get anything in the way of brightness, and there will be some heavier rain a bit later on as well. But a nice dry spell, I think, through the late morning into the first part of the afternoon. Then so from around 2 o'clock onwards, just after lunchtime basically, we'll start to get these heavier bursts of rain coming in on the very brisk southwesterly wind. So quite wet and windy to end the day. And this rain is going to last right through the evening rush hour for a good part of the evening as well, so it does threaten to be a rather soggy bonfire night ahead, and it will be quite windy at times too. Top temperatures today up to around 15 Celsius. It is going to feel mild, so you won't need all your hats, scarves, gloves, coat, all of that stuff on as you head out the door tonight, but you will need your rain stuff and you'll need your wellies as well. The rain probably clearing by around sort of 8 or 9 o'clock or so, just pushing off to the northeast there, and it should be dry at least for the second half of the night. Overnight lows of around 12 or or 13 degrees. A dry start to the day tomorrow, but there's more rain on the way. In fact, over the next few days, there'll be lots of rain through the daylight hours and quite windy at times too. But by night, it should be mostly dry. And certainly on Friday evening and on Saturday evening in particular, it looks like it should be dry for any fireworks displays that have been delayed until then. And on Saturday night, we have the added bonus that it will be clear as well. So good news there, but very wet and very windy through the day and staying mild throughout. That's the forecast.
Local Live.
Local Live is a live update service from the BBC.
Live news, sport, weather and travel updates for beds, hearts and bucks.
You can get the latest on more than 30 stories during the course of the day.
Video, audio and the best of social media for where you live.
You can have a much more dynamic, updated live news service than ever before.
Wherever you are, from the BBC and beyond.
One or two showers working their way in later on this afternoon.
Local Live.
Milton Keynes Dons secured a vital win as they beat Charlton 1-0 at Stadium MK.
Online, on your mobile and on your tablet at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
The M1 southbound slow going 12 to 11.
Local Live. bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Don't forget we do radio shows as well, guys. Teddy's on the line. Morning, Ted.
Good morning.
What you got for us, boss?
Sympathies with the Starbucks guy.
Oh, a little bit of romance. All he's done is they've got to do, and I don't know if Starbucks, the staff enjoy the humiliation of asking people for their names, but as well as writing, this young woman's name on the cup, he's also written "You're extremely hot."
Yeah, I did something kind of similar.
Uh-oh.
I was working in a training camp, and
a training camp. Where was this? Afghanistan?
Yeah, it was kind of. It's the Army Cadet Force.
Blimey. Okay.
And there was a very pretty girl that I'd spotted, so I kept peeling the potatoes in the shape of winkles.
Oh,
thank you very
romantic.
much. There we go. It doesn't get.
I mean, can I just say, flowers, chocolates.
Jonathan liked that one. Look, he enjoyed that one, didn't he?
I mean,
and how did it go? I've got to ask, Teddy. How did it go?
I'm not sure she understood what the meaning was.
Okay, thank you very much indeed.
I think she did. I think she got it loud and clear there.
Boiled or mashed, I suppose, is the question there. Thank you for that, Teddy. I really appreciate the contribution to the show. 03459 455 555 is the...
the milk tray man's back.
Oh, listen, right? The milk tray man's back, right? Cadbury's are
By
doing
the way,
this...
he deserves locking up.
He does, he's a pervert.
Yeah.
Walking around in a balaclava.
Intruder. He knows he shouldn't be doing it, otherwise he wouldn't be wearing that.
Do you know what? We were when I was at college, right? Drama college, we're doing performing arts, right? And there was this...
Drama club.
And there was this Welsh teacher there called Byron Davis. What a Welsh
name.
Very quiet teacher. Didn't really have a lot to do with him, right? I don't remember what he was teaching, like plays and stuff, like acting, right? And then there was a rumour going around in the first year that he was the milk tray man. Right. And at the end of... I plucked up the coach and said, Byron, look, there's a rumour going around. I've got to ask, were you the original milk tray man? He went, yes, I was. And it was never spoken again. He was the original milk tray man.
Google him.
Byron Well, what do you mean you don't believe me?
No.
I believe him. He wasn't going to lie. He was the original milk tray man, just...
Somebody's nominated me for the new milk tray man.
You mean you've nominated yourself?
No. A selection of ladies have nominated me.
Yeah, because that's what's going on now. You know that this is the way forward, that everyone's voting, to do jobs that normally a professional would do.
All that's coming up is a Conservative MP, and that's certainly not...
Wow. Are you prepared, though, Justin, for, shinning up drain pipes and
milk tray woman.
Through ladies' windows and that?
Well, that's only what I've done for years anyway, so it's fine.
This time it's legal.
Milk tray woman. Milk tray woman.
Oh, I've got a polar neck. I could do it.
There we go. Yeah, but you look a bit like her, tired and ragged. There's a picture of someone potentially being the milk tray woman. The more I think about Teddy's story about potatoes carved into winkles, the more I sympathise for that guy. He was just trying to get him. Some of us, Justin, we're not blessed like you. We don't know how to communicate to ladies.
No, you just call me tired and ragged.
Exactly.
I suggest that's not a great approach.
Exactly. You see, it doesn't. It's classic Bants, Justin.
Yeah.
Slippers. You don't strike me as a slippers man.
No, I haven't got a pair of slippers yet.
Wow.
My mum has tried to buy me some for Christmas at various points, and I've said, no, don't even go there.
I bet you've got a silky kimono.
Might have.
Does your mum still buy your pants?
No.
Okay, I'm just asking. We've
Ridiculous
established
question.
What about your vests?
No.
We've established you live in a squat and your CDs are in your kitchen, so anything is possible in the Justin Dealey world. You've taken slippers to the streets, not literally, because you ain't bringing them back in the house.
Yeah, you were talking about this earlier, because apparently slippers could be on the way out. Shock horror.
They're dying out because apparently our homes are too warm, which is nonsense.
Yeah, that's rubbish.
Everything is improved by wearing a pair of slippers, but they are dying out.
Yeah, and to a lot of people, this is a very, very sad day that we could be talking about the end of slippers. So I've taken this one to the streets. A couple of interesting perspectives coming up here. Some people are very passionate about their slippers. Here's what happened on the streets.
Taking it to the streets with J-Dog. #slippers.
Morning, boss. That's a lovely suntan. Where have you been?
You think so? Spain?
Where are you from yourself?
Italy.
Ah, right, okay. So let's get the Italian perspective with a hint of Spanish. Okay, so do you wear slippers?
Yes. I've got a couple of pairs, yes.
Can you imagine your life, okay, without slippers?
No, always other slippers. Always wearing slippers.
So if somebody said to you, no more slippers, okay,
yeah.
Slippers are going to be taken off the shelves, nobody wants them anymore, would that be like somebody saying to you, no more pizza?
It's the same, yes, exactly the same, yes. I believe in slippers and I believe in pizza.
Madam, would you agree that slippers are more reliable than men?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
How many pairs have you got?
4.
And what's the most outrageous pair that you've got?
Monsters.
And just lastly, can you imagine going home later on, okay? Can you imagine going home and suddenly those 4 pairs of slippers that you've got have suddenly vanished and you can't go out and buy any more slippers ever again? Can you imagine a world without slippers?
No. Slippers?
Could be a thing of the past.
Oh, that's sad.
What do slippers mean to you?
Everything.
How would you feel if I told you that slippers were on the way out and they could be a thing of the past?
I can't see them on the way out, so I always have to rely on mine. So, well, you got ones now you can wear in bed now, so.
What?
Have you heard the news?
No, what?
You've not?
No, I don't watch the news.
Slippers could be on the way out.
Really? Well, I guess because they've got the fluffy socks now, isn't it, though?
Well, I guess because they've got the fluffy socks now, though, isn't it?
In it now.
In it, yeah, in it.
Slippers you can wear in bed. What
She
kind
means
of,
the fluffy socks,
Is
innit?
that it?
Yeah.
Oh, man alive. Dealey, seriously, man, honestly, today, going to Marx's, they'll cost you about £12 and they will change your life.
No, mate, it's all right.
Thanks very much indeed, Dealey. Thank you very much. Anonymous in Risborough says, what idiot said it's not 1986, you know? Surely you meant 1984. No. No. I meant 1986. I meant cameras with filming. I wasn't referencing the book 1984.
No.
But thanks, but no. I know exactly what I meant. I never make a mistake. Isn't that right, Dan?
Never.
There we go, you see. So there's this family, right? And they're... Well, I say family, it's 2 old people. Hey, one of them looks like what Michael Nesmith from the Monkees looks like now.
He does,
He
yeah.
does. And they collect pottery, and it turns out and pottery is one of the dullest things in the world, isn't it? I mean, it really is.
What are we talking? Royal Dalton ladies or what?
Well, just have a look, like clay.
Oh, earthenware.
Earthenware. I used to like them. I preferred them when they kept fire. Earthenware and fire.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah.
Don't open with
there.
it.
A couple amassed a £1 million... Here we go, Ollie! Is Ollie still in the building? He can go and do this. All he can do is go around there, tell him that stuff's nicked, and wallop, he's got it. A couple amassed a £1 million pottery treasure trove in their 1-bedroom bungalow. Alan and Pat Firth...
I've got a problem. They have compulsion. They could have spent that on a 2-bedroom.
I'm looking at some of the stuff they bought. It really is rubbish. Spent £27,000 over 4 decades on the vast hoard. Be careful how you say that. Otherwise, it's a fat prostitute.
Yeah.
The works were stacked to the ceiling, wrapped in newspaper in the attic, or dumped in the garage next to oil cans.
Oh.
They survived despite the Firth's Siamese cats given... Now, if you want a vicious cat, Siamese, they are nasty.
They're beautiful, though, aren't they?
They're beautiful, but they know it. They know it, and that's their problem, and I'm not being racist. What do we call Siam these days? Is that China?
No.
What's Siam? Vietnam?
Taiwan, isn't it?
Oh, come...
Thailand.
Is Siam Thailand?
We better look it up quick.
No,
Danny, look it up quick.
Danny, Google what Siam is now.
Let's have a look.
We don't have to hear you doing it. Just do it and then
Hold on, mate, hold on.
You've got a leaky mind.
When experts cleared... Oh, hang on a minute. One of them's dead.
Right.
When experts cleared the house after Alan, 80, died in March, one compared it to opening Tutankhamun's tomb. Oh, they're both dead. Oh, flipping it, they're both dead. Oh, all right, okay. Well, suddenly you should feel bad about yourself.
No, they are. They did have a problem.
Well, they're dead.
But they weren't enjoying the pottery. It was all wrapped up. They were just like compulsion to buy things.
Auctioneer Jason Wood said, there were wonderful things wherever you looked. The family thought the value was in the property and they got very excited when I told them the collection was worth there's more. What's it called now? Don't mouth to him what he's supposed to say.
No, I've Googled it.
And what is it?
Service integration and management.
No, the country. Is it too late to get Kelly back?
I never thought I'd miss Dimwit.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, a lane's closed anti-clockwise but at junction 12 for the M3, which is causing a delay from junction 18 for Chorleywood, and clockwise 2 lanes are closed just after junction 24 for Potters Bar, which is causing queues from junction 22 for St Albans. In Borehamwood on the A1, it's very slow from the M25 towards Stirling Corner, and the A40 Western Avenue between the Swakeleys roundabout is very busy heading towards Acton. On the M1, it's slow southbound around junction 12 for Flitwick, and it's also busy on the A5 southbound in Dunstable from the A505 towards Brewers Hill Road through the roadworks. In Milton Keynes, Grafton Street is closed both ways because of an accident at by the Stadium MK at Bletchley Way, so that's causing delays between the A5 and Bletchley. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Hey, a lot of calls today, thank you. Some interesting bits and pieces, some rubbish as well, I'm going to be honest. And a man who carved potatoes into penises. I mean... Don't forget, if you go to the BBC iPlayer, type in Iain Lee and Catherine Boyle, there is a bonus show. We do a show Saturday, midday till 2. It's even more fatuous and shallow than this. Imagine that. I was right, Siam's now Thailand.
And vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon-Smith. It's Thursday. It's 9 o'clock, and on today's Big Phone In, do you think it's right to set every speed camera on the motorway to 70 miles an hour? The Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire has told me he'll have to set every single speed camera on the motorway to 70 miles an hour in order to raise money for his cash-strapped force. Ollie Martins argues that by refusing to give his police force any more money, this government is forcing him to find new ways to raise funds. And switching on every gantry camera could raise around £1 million. But is this just a cash cow, or a sensible safety measure which will also help the police pay for themselves? I want your calls in this hour. Do you think it's right to set every speed camera on the motorway to 70 miles an hour? Here's my telephone number for your call. It's 03459 455 555.
This is the JVS show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll take your call in just a second, but first let's get the latest BBC News at 9 o'clock. Here's Simon Oxley.
The headline's criticism of a new Deputy Police Commissioner for Bedfordshire. British tourists should be flown home tomorrow, and still no railway station for village development.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The appointment of a Deputy Police and Crime Commissioner for Bedfordshire is being criticised. Saqib Ali's appointment is expected to be confirmed at the Police and Crime panel this evening. Commissioner Ollie Martin says the role is in the budget, but his Conservative opponent Catherine Holloway says it shouldn't be happening as the force battles funding cuts.
We have a very specific situation here in Bedfordshire. We're being asked to sign a petition about acute shortage of funding. It is completely illogical at that time to appoint somebody who's being paid over £30,000 a year for 3 days' work a week.
Meanwhile, Ollie Martins is continuing to defend his comments about potentially using cameras on the M1 in Bedfordshire to strictly enforce the 70 miles per hour limit to raise more funds. He says he has no choice but to consider such measures.
I'm being faced with some really quite
quite unpalatable choices, but it is a choice between doing things like this or reducing the size of the police force that I'm responsible for. That could be worth £1 million. That's 25 police officers that I won't have to get rid of.
The government says it expects that British tourists stranded in the Egyptian resort of Sharm el-Sheikh will begin to be flown home from tomorrow. All flights between the UK and the airport are currently suspended. Ministers say the decision was taken after evidence emerged that a bomb may have caused a Russian airliner to crash in Egypt on Saturday. The Foreign Secretary, Philip Hammond, says they're working with all parties.
We're spending today with the airlines, with the Egyptian authorities, putting in place short-term emergency measures that will allow us to screen everything going onto those planes, double-check those planes so that we can be confident that they can fly back safely to the UK.
A memorial plaque for Leon Briggs has been installed outside Luton Police Station on the second anniversary of his death against police advice. Mr Briggs died